Oh, rickety, 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 rickety. Right, let's get down to it. EMEA action. Groups B versus C. Hit it. We'll check the multi-stream here in a bit and set that thing up. They're still showing a lot of people not online. We know that kind of likes to be a little funky right off the rip. So we'll give it a minute. What it do, what it do? Happy Sunday, y'all. Hopefully y'all got some sleep. Feeling pretty decent, not gonna lie. All right. Be back live, baby. It's kind of crazy to think that both the podcast and then the tier list did better than the ALGS video. It's kind of frustrating. Not gonna lie. I think what's weird, and I know it's going to be off topic because this is ALGS. I'm talking RLCS. But the new RLCS like qualifying thing is weird because it's making people like only play like 2-3 games a day. And they're best of 3s, dog. Like, what the fuck? I feel like we could be a lot more efficient. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I know you know what I'm saying. You feel me? Alright, so Phoenix Legacy had a decent day yesterday. First pro team with 2 women on it. They finished, I think, like 6th? 8th? Naturally, as soon as I turned away from them, they started performing. So I think, if you think about it, I think that just means, like, I helped them, right? 9th. So had I kept them on the 9-screen split screen, you never know. Things might not... You know what I'm saying? So if you think about it, in a weird way, I kind of helped. And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Rain Day.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are back with another brand new day of the ALGS. It is year 4 and it is day 3, which means it's the end of the beginning. We started this season just last weekend and we've already had a chance, including today's performances, to see each of our 3 groups go head to head. But it means that that is the only chance you have to start out in front of the pack. And those who start waddling behind too early, they can have some problems heading into championship season, or at least the start of our lands. But today gives some hope, maybe some fear and trepidation, and maybe some just a chance to do enough to put themselves at the top of the leaderboards. My name is Rain Day. Welcome back to another fantastic day. I've got a great crew with me today as well, who is going to bring you all of the action starting in EMEA and ending in North America. Let's introduce the first. It's her first show of this year of the ALGS. She's back off her off season. It's Vicky
I'm so
Kitty.
happy to be back, man. Finally, I am away from the off season and I'm here to join the rest of the crew for ALGS year 4. It's been way too long. I've been anticipating
Vicky's
this time
on
for the
the
last
desk,
2
baby.
weeks.
Let's go.
Been doing some watch parties, been seeing all the actions, been seeing you guys pop off, and I'm so happy to finally be alongside you, Rain Day, as well as the rest of the crew.
Oh, thank you so much, Vicky. And honestly, it's great to have you back. And another person who's gone back to back. Yesterday's show was fantastic with him on board. Now, joining us again on Sunday, it's Dia. Great to have just you back in my presence, man. It's been too long.
Thank you so much, Randy. It is a pleasure to hear your voice again, as ever since week 1, which was a fantastic start, so much has already seemed to change in the pro scene, and now finishing the first round robin, I wouldn't miss it for the world.
Well, we have so much that is going to unfold here again, and obviously we've had a lot that's transpired. So let's take a look, for those just catching up with us, what has happened overall. Where do we stand across the board after 2 days of play going into our 3rd? We have our overall standings coming up here. And Vicky, walk us through your thoughts on our top performing teams, because there have been teams who have definitely proven that they not only are here to play and win for that split championship or that split playoff win, but also just in the split league right now coming in, they're wanting to perform.
Yeah, if you take a look at the first 10 teams that we have in the overall standings here in EMEA, there's some team names that may be missing out. And, you know, it could be a little surprising, but
yeah,
that's what today is for, to see if these teams could rise up. But notably speaking of teams like 07, who have had a very consistent first 2 days, we were able to see them get 4th in day 1, get 3rd in day 2, and not only take these dubs consistently, but also ending a lot of their games with very high KP.
And, you know, I mean, you bring up 07. Obviously, we also saw, you know, teams like Aurora have such a fantastic game yesterday that we're catapulting, and not only into the front, that's put them in kind of a driver's seat as well, Vicky, in that kind of top space.
Yeah, it's beautiful to see what Aurora has been able to do. And also, Aurora's always been one of those teams where they will run a different cup than everybody else in the lobby. But something we have been seeing, and actually across different regions too, is the inclusion of the Bloodhound. And that is, you know, by definition, when you see everyone on the Bangalore, if you want to be able to run that Bloodhound, and if it works out for you and getting your information, or if you want to get your pigeon to tell you where all the other teams are in the middle of some of your rotates, it could come in handy, as well as actually scanning the survey beacons to know where everybody is in the lobby too, midway through that rotation, while also changing your own game plan if you want to play more by the edge.
It's a great point. If you just heard that, yes, that is a meta character. Dia, I want to get your thoughts now on our participating teams, because, you know, you might have been able to give us some attention on some teams that maybe aren't necessarily the Auroras, right, but have a chance to perform here.
All right, let's see if Alliance can turn it up today.
What stands out to you in Group B versus C, a team that's maybe got to perform today, or someone you're at least tracking closely?
Alliance, I feel like, got to turn it around.
B retake the stage,
yeah.
And for those of you who have been watching since international lands, be it split 2 playoffs of year 3 or even the championship, you'll recognize some of these names not from EMEA but from South America. The teams at the very top of Group B, Aftermath, and at the bottom, Vamos Querer, have both South American players on them. We've got Kings, of course, as well as Kurev and Stalizi, who have all come over from South America, and
Aftermath
that's a really exciting thing to me, because we get to
performance.
see regions mix outside of the regular season from year 3. Now we're seeing, can talent from one region migrate to another, succeed under different IGLs in totally different circumstances?
Oh, these are
one
great
of the
points.
teams too that I get to see rain day actually is Phoenix Legacy, being one of the squads that I cannot wait to see perform again for today. Sabs, Alpha Draft, Kiri right here, rather Kyrie, she's really good at being the inclusion of this squad after Sabs and Alpha Draft have already built up that synergy in the past. Actually, Kyrie is a big advocate in getting a bunch of women into the tier 3 competitive Apex scene, which has been fantastic to see now her inclusion in the Pro League, aside from the fact that this is the first time I believe that we see 2 women competing on one Pro League team across a gauntlet of a lobby.
Talk that shit.
I mean, gauntlet of a lobby. That is a great way to describe this. And the stakes are still high. I mean, we kind of start off day 1's exciting. Day 2, we're seeing who's sticking. But now day 3, every team will have had a chance to have a go. And so
every group will have had a chance to go twice.
Where do you really stand in the
you played every group?
30% of our league here. But let's start with you, Vicky. I mean, there has to be a few teams, at least maybe one team that you've got your eye on in particular today that you're expecting a performance from.
I think I've mentioned them quite a bit already, but it's because after their performance yesterday, what is there not to highlight? I gotta talk
Aurora,
about Aurora out here. After
Aurora's gonna be a team to watch out for sure.
Where Hardeki not only claimed the title as MVP for the day in EMEA, but he came in clutch, literally being able to res in such a knit tight circle where everybody was on the high ground with less than 10 seconds on the clock to get 9 impulse in. He was also rocking the wingman, but that's not all they had. They also had a Kraber in their hand. We mentioned the Bloodhound and what that could change for this composition. But while they were climbing up here, they were not only able to get out of the line of sight of the teams above them, but look how much KP they're able to get aside from the hipfire on that nasty no scope. Now came back, and right before we were able to say hello, we say goodbye after an insane Kraber shot. As people were falling from the sky, they were playing off of a beautiful fence line here before they were able to not only get the dub after a pretty rough game for them, but so much KP. Like I said, we had 2 players, I believe, get like 15 KP, another player get 14, and it's the fact that they were able to remain calm and collected while not only getting the res, but also getting the dub on top of this. As we take a look, after then taking the dub and taking a look at some of these stats, here we go. Yeah, this is what I was talking about. 15, 15, 14. Aside from the dub, that was huge. That elevated them in the overall standings, and not only that, that set them up nice for World's Edge.
And when you look at it, I mean, coming back to it, Dia, obviously there's so much to talk about Aurora. We could probably spend most of the day, I'm sure, during our cast, we'll be talking about them meticulously. But in terms of overall pictures as well, who do you have your eye on as far as a team coming into this lobby?
Yeah, it's difficult because Aurora did put on a big performance, but I'm looking back at another team that I think is going to be on a lot of people's minds coming into today. ALGS and Hungry, who placed 3rd in their first match day of the ALGS season. This is, of course, a roster that has some names you'll be familiar with from Vexed days that were, honestly, on Vexed, taking EMEA by storm in year 3.
At times,
they've got Matape
right?
and Unlucky.
I felt like their time on Vexed
in with this roster who made
had
their
very high
debut
highs,
as a
but also
cracked
pretty low
fragger
lows,
on
right?
E6, and has now transitioned to a sort of anchor role with
I mean, they just never
ALGS
really
and
performed on the
Hungry,
international
sitting back
stage.
and playing on Catalyst, providing support to people
And
like
I feel like they've been one of those
Unlucky
teams that, like, when they
and of
pop
course
off, it's
Matape,
because they're just
who has
fragging their
been
asses
playing
off in a
the
play
conduit.
style that
This
you
is not
don't
one of the teams that we
necessarily
see
always get
running
to play.
Bloodhound, instead preferring the constant uptime that something like a conduit will give them, and Matape specifically has been really excellent, not just about IGLing his team to victory, as so frequently has happened on the EMEA stage, but with navigating this new Legend's ability to impact fights. He's got the most kills for a reason, and looking a little bit further down, kinda as the stabilizing force for this team is so often not just finishing the fight, but getting his team back in it for the next one.
Really a fantastic squad, and again, going through something that was surprising. The start of our pro league last week, 2 days before, they were no longer a part of the org that they've been representing most of their tenure here in the ALGS. So that's got to be something that they had to work through.
Let's see if now
maybe
at this
not
point,
emotionally as much, because they
Team Streams is like up to date with what streams are live.
All right, we're just going to go out there and do the absolute best that we can. And I like that. I think they've got a lot
I
of
love
fans.
it.
We'll
So
see
we've
if that
got
continues
Alliance
for their performance today,
and
they'll
Aurora
be
views
happy
today
after 6 games. But another team that really has to do something.
Well,
we
so we want to make sure we're watching.
more heading into this day 1.
I do want to watch ALGS and Hungry. We're definitely going to have to watch Phoenix Legacy.
Effect and Yuki. Hockey's, he's in that category of IGL where you put some of the greats in Apex, the Sweets, the Hals, the Zeros,
Sure.
but he's not quite been able to get that LAN championship like many of them, except obviously Hal and Zero.
I
But
think
what
we
he's done is
watched
he's led
Kurev.
Alliance to be one of the most consistent and dangerous teams, not just online,
Where's
but at
Aftermath?
LAN as well. Yet these stats on the right side, pay attention to
Oh,
those.
Kurev
Average
is Aftermath.
placement,
I'm an idiot.
less than 10. They're averaging in the bottom half of this lobby, meaning they're getting out early and they're not getting enough kills. They're not getting enough points. They had 2 good games, but what does that mean
Strafey.
over the course of their next 4 games? They weren't able to pick it up. They weren't able to find that rhythm that we're so used to
Do we
seeing them
want
have.
Made in Heaven?
I
They
wanna
had a
kind
pretty
of
hot
talk about
day
how
the other
that
day.
looks in terms of a new distribution we're adding into some of the stats that we bring to you at the ALGS main broadcast. It's the damage differential. This is
Oh,
basically
shit, this is a
describing how
cool
much damage you're
bracket,
giving
actually.
versus how much damage you're taking. Meaning if you're in the positives on that upside, you're dealing much more damage than you're actually taking. Alliance, can you find them yet? I gave you a little bit of time. They're on that middle left side, just barely below neutral. And of course, a team who is a juggernaut of EMEA, one of our
It's
main
interesting to me
contenders
to
win
see Alliance
championships.
so
When we
close to
ever-
0
whenever we see them at
and
LAN, we would
0-7 in
expect
the
them to have a
negative.
much better day going into this second of their potential to play.
Because I feel like 07's had 2 decent
He was
days,
aware
right?
of the issues, but he wasn't too worried about him. We actually sat down with him a little bit before the start of day 3.
Hey guys, Hackers here. We're playing this weekend on Sunday, and my teammates are Effect, Yuki, and our coach, Nov, and hopefully we'll show up this weekend. So day 1 we got 14th. It wasn't the
I
greatest of
kind
starts,
of wish
but
there was more
however,
back and forth
I
in
think it was
this,
good
right?
because now we actually got a real wake-up call. ALGS is not like scrims. It is not like third-party tournaments. It is a completely different playstyle, and everybody plays much better and much more serious. So hopefully it was just a wake-up call and we can get it together for next week. I don't really think about it that much. For me, Europe is just a stepping stone to LAN. It is just something we use to qualify, and at LAN is all that matters. So all our preparations and all our performance just go towards that, and hoping to win LAN. That's all that I'm playing for.
You know, Dia, if you look at any, great time of stress, when you look to a leader, you want someone
Oh,
who's measured, who
Mende
thinks
is
big
going to be
picture and
joining
not
the
gets
broadcast crew
overly
during
upset or overly
halftime,
happy and
huh?
eager about a positive or negative performance. It feels like Hotkeys is kind of keeping that mentality.
It's very true, and he always has been the very stable emotional presence. Yuki as well is actually a very chilled out person, and it's nice to see them experimenting with a few things early on in the season, and I think, Randy, that's where I'm approaching this from. While Alliance may have not had the results that a lot of fans would expect from their first match day, their lack of concern is inspiring confidence in me, and we're just trying a few new things.
And I would tell you, a team that already has the tools that you don't need to give emotional motivation is Alliance. That's for sure. You want them to kind of just feel like they're safe and then surprise them. But Vicky, let's go back to kind of the overall standings again. Really set the stage for today before we get into our matches, which are coming up in just a moment. Walk me through our top 10 teams.
See, that's what I'm saying. So 07 technically is sitting at the top, right?
07's consistency has
But they're
definitely allowed
in
them
the
to sit
negative
in
on
that
damage
#1
disparity.
spot in the overall standings.
How does that
so
work?
far after their first 2 days? They had gotten 4th day #1, they got 3rd day #2, but not only just that, they had a great performance on Storm Point, I believe, for both of those days, and still while accruing all the KP that they needed. E6 definitely being another team to look at. 2 Rats, 1 Controller. I wasn't surprised there to see where they were standing at the end of those 2 days as well. Aurora, of course, after their performance yesterday, their first time of them playing so far in the Pro League for day #2, they were also able to secure themselves in that top 5 spot. But you talk about Alliance, and I'm surprised to not see them here in the top 10 while we take a look at that second page, Dia.
Yeah, this is where you're going to see a lot of teams that have only played 1 match day, because that's the really important number in the second column. Mind, well, technically in 11th right now, the fact that they're tied for stay healthy means that by the end of today,
Unless Stay Healthy finishes 20th,
they're
they're
going
going
to
to
be
be
bumped down.
Yeah.
Teams like Vex, LVH, No Days Off, and especially
Because they're a
Phoenix
team,
Legacy,
they're
who
only
really
one
got my
team
eye
gets 0
on today,
points, right?
should be jumping up the leaderboard, and I'd expect them to land in the top 10. When we look a little further down the list, though, Rain Day, this is where things get a lot more dire.
Yeah, a lot of these teams, I mean, you even look at some old contenders here, the Forge, you know, led by Phoenix, Jay Savage. These guys have been playing and nearly qualifying every single LAN, but have not been able to do it and found themselves there through either substitutes from teams not being able to go, Aurora Firebeavers earlier on in Split 2, or simply as subs for teams who needed other players. These are the types of teams, Vamo Carrera with Ascend as well, excuse me, Kashera off Ascend with a new squad. Can they do enough to start off strong? We mentioned it's the end of the beginning, and starting a race is very, very important. It's not necessarily how you finish, but first impressions, they mean a lot. And I think right now, this is the final chance to give us all a first impression.
All right,
viewers
chat.
at home, all of us watching, and all of us obviously commentating of where
Looks like we're
you
getting
really
ready to
stand
start
in
and
the power
drop
rankings
into
and the
Storm Point.
ALGS. Not just in EMEA, but overall.
Do we
We're gonna find
have
more
drop
answers to that
spots for the
as they
day?
play, because that's the only way to decide this thing for real. So as we just started with the top of the show, let's get into the main action of the games. I'm
normally
gonna leave
put
it over
that
to you,
up?
Vicky and Dia, to kick us off here in day 3.
Thank you so much, Rain Day. I'm here with Dia, and Dia, it's finally happening. We are finally here together to kickstart year 4, day number 3. I was waiting in the rains, and I couldn't wait to dive in. As you guys have been able to take a look and check out for both EMEA and NA, our map rotation has remained the same here. For the first 3 matches, we'll be taking a trip over to Storm Point before making that transition into World's Edge for our final 3 games.
And Vicky, I've really been enjoying the fact that we start on Storm Point and give our teams a chance to quite literally expand, take up a lot of space. Storm Point is a massive map with so much open area that is beneficial to control, as opposed to World's Edge, where you really are rewarded for playing quite small, playing in buildings. Storm Point gives you a chance to play the opposite side of that, and it's a skill set that actually transfers really well from our starting matches into our closing ones on World's Edge. As we start dropping in, we do have a few contests to keep our eyes on. Lightning Rod especially is going to be pivotal for all these 3 games.
I can't wait to see how that plays out here. I believe Lightning Rod would be the boys versus Alliance, and you
All right, let's go. Let's go hang out with Alliance. I thought Alliance was dropping there,
They're going for.
and I thought Alliance had a contest. I wasn't sure.
They're right below us, yeah.
Yeah, they're going for cannon. They're going for cannon.
Fucked up.
Yo, I'm taking the elevator. I'm taking the elevator. Can we go 2 elevator maybe and kill him?
Yeah, let's go. I'm going lockdown. You guys go elevator.
Okay, I'm going over here.
I love it. So
Oh,
they're
okay,
gonna
I'm
go
gonna
ahead and
go
all
inside.
push
I'm
together,
gonna
knowing where one of them's
I'm massive.
landing.
Alright, take the flat line.
Massive flat line here for Hackers.
Fight him, yeah.
With you.
Inside.
I'm here with you.
They're gonna try and isolate the one.
Smoking it. All the right side. Play the right side. Play the right side.
I'm going to
I
the right
did
side.
30 white, 30 white.
One sec. I need
On my door, on my door.
With you.
Smoke
Two
the
guys
right
on my
side.
door. They keep me up.
Okay, can we go around?
Yeah.
Hackers is gonna have to try and find himself some heavy ammo here, or
Okay, I'm coming.
Just
Let's go,
cross.
let's go.
maybe switch over to that.
Just cross and hold.
Oh,
Cross and hold.
never mind.
Default.
All right, so they're gonna actually back down from this
No,
fight.
we're
Probably a good idea,
Long range.
Go
just
thunder,
because they have
second,
no idea
second.
where the
I'm
help
gonna
is,
go-
right?
Yeah.
Aftermath's also contesting down here.
They're ready already.
Yeah, let's go.
Keep coming.
Over here at Mill. I
It's
need
fine,
to
it's
actually
okay.
go through and fix all of my
Okay.
perspectives.
On the right side?
They're
Make
gonna
sure
go
that they're all.
They're running roof again. Come to me.
Okay.
They're on this room now. I can peek second floor.
Who would they be contesting over
You guys
here
play
at
down
Mill?
below somehow.
I'm switching.
Okay, I'm
Give me a second, give me a second.
Right side,
Okay.
syringe, okay? We don't know
Okay.
where they are, they're erratic.
Pick the doors. Here. My side.
Okay.
I'm picking the double door.
Stairs, yeah. Do 2 stairs, somebody there.
Can you peek flash?
I'm picking out 3, 2, 1. I'm picking, guys.
They're on me. I jump. I'm with you, too.
Okay. I'm picking
I
top.
can peek now, too.
All right, so there's one behind
Oh,
them.
no,
Oh, they're
no,
all
no, no,
fucking
pick up,
all
pick up,
top
pick up,
up here.
guys.
Holy shit!
Big one. No one.
One shoot, no lesson. Guys. Last one, put it up.
Blaze well. Sure.
Phoenix.
Yep.
I think it's striking.
He's running car. I'm pulling him.
So was it
I'm pulling him.
2v2? 2v1.
Rest.
Finish the kills.
He's on
2v1.
the car already.
Okay, pick him, Flash. Pick him.
Nice.
Let's fucking go, boys!
Nice. Aftermath's gonna win theirs. Get their wins all first.
Clan from Down to Beast was paying attention. Aftermath do very well to win the fight. A fight that
Oh,
were
they're
trying to
playing
start
against-
for quite a long time and finally get some purchase in.
Hold on, chat. I know this
It
is
is a
probably a little
late
bit to have
portion
all
of the
these
game
screens
for
up. I'm
them,
just gonna fix
especially
all
when the
these
ring is pulling over
POVs
to you.
real quick.
And it is. Go Next have already arrived in the area, and while they may not be third-partying the fight, this isn't going to give Aftermath a whole lot of room to move or loot before they have to bunker down for the end game.
And try to see where all the other teams are going to be rotating. Like you mentioned, since this is going to be
All
in
right,
that
here we
next
go.
circle, you have to imagine the two buildings right over to the side of Mill, having that survey beacon to allow any teams that may be running a comp that could allow them to get the scan. They could also be playing for inside the building. The cat wall has been called up. And in the distance, you could also see Phoenix Legacy in the back of the Forge right there in front of them as Stay Healthy tries to fight for this building. No one's going to try to overextend here, but definitely expect those choke points.
So it does look
by
like
Cito and
for
by that
Aftermath,
north side,
winning
exiting
that fight
out
at Mill is
checkpoints
going to be
get
good
contested
because
very
it's going
soon.
to be a
As you
more
can see actually right here,
Mill-ish
the other teams that are now involving themselves
zone.
over by Mill.
Probably going to be
Aurora
that one that
actually
ends a little bit
still
closer
taking
to
their
like
time
that
here in Cenote.
choke
Have no
over
reason to
towards
try to
checkpoint.
overextend while they hear all the fighting happening,
Like
while
right out
also
this way,
sticking
more
to
than
playing
likely.
more by the edge.
Cold are just starting to move in through Cito Station as well, but it's a late enough point in the game.
That's also going to be good
that
for
those
Aurora.
teams
It means
that
they get to
are
take their time
interested
down
in
at Cito's,
playing
or not
in the
Cito,
center
at
of the ring
Cenote.
should already be doing so. Cold are likely to try and maintain this ridge line instead, perhaps fighting teams like Aurora later, where the rest of
Oh,
this
there's a
map
couple of people actually over here at Mill, including UAIM, who's rotated over here. Remember, this is where Aftermath already won the first 3v3. But now there's 3 teams over here. So we have Aftermath, UAIM, and I'm not sure who the third squad is.
Каталист, блядь. Сверху банга, крак одно, но класс.
Блять, тут застроено, не могу.
Она внизу. Это твоя застройка сверху.
Окей.
All right, so Phoenix Legacy gonna go out in 19th.
Я вообще ничего не видел. Хороший. Под нас подходят. Санек.
Was that the third team that was over here? Was Phoenix Legacy?
Нормально, я...
There's a team beast though.
There is a shotgun bolt here.
It looks like
I need it.
Aftermath's gonna decide to not third party that,
Listen, let me
which is
talk,
probably a
let me talk.
smart
We're putting
decision.
all the cabin. If we have
Right, they're
to,
nice and
back
looted and
up,
booted. You've already got
backing up
yourself
to this one.
some KP. Actually, looks like they got
Okay.
involved in that. They've
Wait
got
up. Or maybe there's one because no, there we go.
plenty of loot to go, while ESG still try and make their way into Mill.
Why is it whenever I change?
That there's going to be chaos happening over here while ESG are going to look to reposition. And it's because of that ring console that you see as well at Cenote. So a lot of teams want to rotate through this choke if they could get that ring circle information, especially with the pick rate that we currently saw on Catalyst. It's insane to see alongside with Bangalore. Not much has changed leaving out of champs when you take a look at those two legends, despite some changes that each legend has been going through themselves. Now as we take a look over to that north side, so many of these other squads already making the rotate away from North Pad. I know that was Vex that's still taking their time over there, while LVH
It's,
now making
Orgulus
their
and
way over
Healthy?
to Pylon. Don't have any squads in front of them, but they do have a replicator coming up on this POI in case they need any more meds or if they want to craft up a purple, if they have enough of those crafting materials right there, which doesn't look like Jay Hanzo has at the moment.
Not yet, but honestly, having the crafting is going to be such a godsend, especially in a time in Apex Legends where we are seeing the 30-30 all the time, and the crafting today with the sniper stock and skull piercer should make the 30-30
Dude, the 30-30 is gonna be
even
deadly
better.
today.
We've
Oh
already
my
got
God.
one for LVH, and that's before they even hit
Everybody's
this
gonna be
crafter,
slapping
so
with
they're
that
gonna be
thing in there.
juiced up by the time they leave Pylon, which honestly is what the POI is good for. Landing Pylon, rotating through Pylon, it all seems to go well.
I'm so glad you brought up what's in the replicator, because today is Sunday, we're going to also have the purple knockdown and the Moby respawn beacon coming into play. So that's all going to be interesting considering that Conduit has made her way into the meta after her release. Taking a look at this beautiful overhead here, you can see how many teams have congested inside of the mill. Exo still taking their time to rotate from that north side of the circle, leaving down Beast. But it's that choke that Forge may find themselves pinched in. Although Stay Healthy is not going to be going anywhere after they've secured themselves in that side building by Mill. They can still do some poke damage onto Forge if they do not get out of their line of sight. Well, Vamos Querer is over to the other north side, also taking their time in those buildings south of Checkpoint.
This whole area is going to be so difficult to get out of, though, and that's what's a bit confusing about prioritizing this early. We do still have a few minutes where teams can make their way out through each side, even the north and west and
What up,
eastern
Moon? How you
sides
doing,
of Checkpoint.
buddy?
But once the ring closes, perhaps not this zone, but the next, the only choice that you have is going to be to leave through that Forge choke And it's a promise of eliminating multiple teams. I'd like to see teams like Vamoquerer start to relocate, as well as, say, Le Site de France, who were most recently spotted in height at checkpoint.
More of these teams making the rotate here. Aurora looking fantastic in terms of those Evo shields, but this is still a team that has not left this POA. They have taken their time, but it goes into their game plan, running the comp that they're currently running. We highlighted it in the pre-show, but with that Bloodhound, the Bangalore, and the Horizon, they're choosing a much more aggressive approach versus what's been the most recent conversation on Conduit versus Horizon being that main pick for these teams to excel in. And with the Catalyst still being one of those mainstay pieces, that wall provides so much flexibility when it comes to making those rotates on top of the smokes that your team could be running here. Digi in the hands of Psychop, just trying to take a peek right over the gravity cannon. They know there's a team right there in the distance by those rocks, but do they want to take this fight here with so many other squads still by the checkpoint, by rather the choke by checkpoint, that they could go in for a third party here if they do decide to take this fight against XO?
See if we got anybody else who's currently in any fights here, man.
3v3s in yesterday's games were
Doesn't look like.
absolutely on point, but it was in the late game rotations where they were really suffering, not
Well,
taking
what's the good word today,
3v3s,
homie?
and instead finding themselves accidentally in 3v6s. A position like this, where they're in an isolated fight against Exo Clan, it looks good for them, and things are looking good for Alliance as well, who have just picked up a single kill, but that's a point. That's a single point for them, and that's what's really important for Alliance today, is that they continue to slowly build up momentum.
That's how it starts, especially for game number 1 here. It's finding the footing for where these teams want to situate themselves in the overall leaderboards here, as XO in that fight, looking to their backs to make sure that squad right behind him, Defense, doesn't take advantage of this pinch situation. This is a very rough rotate with so much
XO's
open
been
air.
struggling with
You
their
can
new
really
roster.
see the smoke
I'm
nades
trying to remember
coming
what
out
roster they
from
played under
Bobby's.
last year when it
Young
was
Hong
just,
Kong trying to get away. He is literally one shot, is able to get into some cover
who's Young Hong
underneath
Kong's
this
team?
bridge where they could take.
Закончилось.
Oh, well, it looks like Aurora's about to be going down here, champ. Let's see, DeFranza took them out, looks like.
That next circle is going to be, because they were able to get that circle scan earlier by Down Beast. They're seeing where that circle is going to be pulling, and the fact that they don't really have a lot of space to work with after
preparing to do, coming in through the Eastern, with them having to fight. Remember, we saw Cold up on the ridgeline, and we're seeing Orglis and Hungary in the area as well. ESG now sit up on the ridge that we saw Cold at earlier. This is going to be where the big fights happen, because everyone will be out in the open.
We back.
She's just gonna hold us here?
What if we play for up here, Akis?
We can kill the Godrock team. Just bang ult and queue up on them.
Yeah, I'm down. We kinda need to. Can you guys get to me though? We gotta hurry.
Yeah, I'm walking up.
We should
It's
be,
not in-
I thought they were pulling up on Cold. Are they not fighting?
We play underneath them later. We need to get
Careful
here.
right side.
We need to
Yeah,
get
go
to
left
the...
side, go left side.
Yeah, I know. We need to get to the bins though later.
They're looking
Oh,
at
we
us
get shot
now.
in the back.
I'm back on this now.
I got cracked. Keep
Give me a back.
Yeah. Keep going. You can use the heal far.
Yeah, my back on
No,
this.
I've queued myself.
We all need to heal. I'm biting.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Sam,
walk right here.
I'm queuing up. No.
Okay, guys,
Let's go.
ready?
Okay. I'm stunned, stunned.
Take it.
Taking it. Go right side, stabilize here.
Taking it.
I don't see anyone.
Nice,
Get
good.
away.
Take space. We have space.
Nice,
Just
nice.
walk in on the bins here. We're just walking on the bins slower.
Yeah, look right side.
Pop a heal effect.
Listen.
effect.
Yeah, we gotta
They're fighting
stabilize.
left.
Yeah, we want to 3P something
They're fighting left.
We have to keep
Let's go,
these.
That's in.
So that's gonna probably be also what? Aftermath over
You
here?
can take the rocks here and anchor
42
maybe.
flash.
Take high ground
Okay,
rocks and
okay,
anchor.
42
Yeah,
flash.
Aftermath's part of the fight over
We gotta
here.
watch our back here. We have all the space in the world.
I can't get up there. Can you queue me up effect?
Okay, one outside, one
Okay,
outside.
I'm gonna come.
They have
Okay,
GG, they have GG. I'm going back.
I think we just hold the bins
I'm
and clear
going
right side. I think we just go
Yeah, I
back.
think they
Yeah,
just
I'm
sit
back.
back here and kind of just chill, honestly.
I'm smoking back up.
Taking
Height.
Because you don't know who's
Yeah,
going to be
no, they're
rotating
gonna
in up from
fight
down
on height
beast
here.
over
We
towards
keep that shit.
middle as well. Whereas up here you've got high ground.
Next
You've
one,
got
next
your...
one, next one, next one.
Oh,
I'm
they've
smoking
given
it.
up their
I'm
spot.
floating.
I ulted.
2, 1, 3, 2, 1, 2, go, go, go.
40 purple.
I'm sending it.
Holy shnikes.
That is the one.
Send it 2 on me both. They're cute. They're low though. They're low
I'm
spot.
stunned.
You're in the shit.
Last
Yeah.
last one. 1 HP behind you.
Play me. Use me.
Don't hold.
Oh, I thought they were about to lose that.
On the bins, on the bins.
Oh, they're
Clear
getting
up.
3-peat there though now. That's tough, bro.
We get fucking 3P there.
That's unfortunate, man. Aurora also out. I think we saw it earlier, right? Was Aftermath the squad that 3-beat him?
I'm going back, go back. Yeah, smoke.
I'm low, back it up.
I'm going back.
Get back, pull back.
I'm gonna kill.
Not
I
even.
killed it.
Secure the building, have the building.
Yeah. Flash. Start, get Phoenix. Okay, I'm not popping it.
I'm holding a. Yeah, I'm holding.
We need to kill them, every
Okay,
time, okay?
start. Queue me up.
Why is the audio off?
Someone needs to watch your back.
They're on the rough.
Is it just on the video or on the camera?
Smoking here. We can play on me.
Oh, it's on the whole thing, isn't
They're
it?
gonna send us.
Sal,
Left side. I'm looking.
we can.
Resetting my HP, okay?
I'm
I should have
playing
killed
the
them.
bot.
They're gonna up again.
I need to
Yeah,
climb,
I have one bat only.
Flash. Yeah.
They're coming up.
The audio being off is kind of
Okay,
messing with
I'm
me.
a button. I'm gonna play flash.
Broke a racing.
Bottom. I think
I have
bottom.
no word. Are they close?
Aftermath's able to make this a pretty solid game right now, though.
You're gonna climb a nuclear, we cannot help. You drop if they climb.
Yeah.
I'm gonna probably need to restart my, or refresh my.
Outside. Watch it. Listen.
Get a finish if you can.
They're gonna play on left.
Okay, can you get a finish?
Finish him.
Play on me, second floor, boys.
Nice.
Can we? Yeah.
Good shit. Chill.
I'm breaking
Let's listen to the game, boys. Chill out, please.
It's only two.
Don't play aggressive now.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
For Aftermath, I cannot help but be happy for them, especially
Yep.
as we mentioned with their South American pickups. Our
Yep.
questions about whether this inter-regional now talent would be able to execute coming into today's match day is being answered in our first game alone. Aftermath have dominated Mill. They have had no loot outside of it and have simply sat here and farmed teams that try and encroach on their territory. LCDF are in tatters, sharing space with them, and Stay Healthy will soon have to join that very same squad that they're fighting in trying to move up and fight Aftermath as well as the other teams in Mill for their territory.
But do they have the time to do so? They put up the cat wall. They're incredibly low from that previous fight. They won't be able to reset with the circle closing in right behind them. Let's see if their Fonts Vex also get eliminated in your feeds while Stay Healthy with Urban staying alive manages to try to get this reset here by the fence line. This is the
Setting.
I think it's just Cure of Stream has gotten behind.
I'm dead.
There's no way, bro.
It's fine. Good shit.
That's a good rant. That's a good game. That's a good game.
Fine.
It's a really good game. Do we have anybody else that we would want to watch here for the last bit?
As you mentioned, may not have the best sightlines now in
Let's go hang out on board with our other South American or squad that has a South America. Let's go hang out on Vamos Querer.
Malta, junta em mim.
Of course,
Não,
Querer
para a
has
esquerda,
always
para a
been in
esquerda,
the
vamos ganhar
EMEA
aquele
region.
Ok. Calma, Cash, na frente, chegando agora.
Sim, eu vou tirar a
But
informação.
picked up Kings. They're now communicating in
Tá free.
Quecher's
Vou então, tá?
native
Ganhei
language,
dos
Portuguese.
mesmos,
Cai.
We're back, chat.
Acabando ainda, tá? Tem um time parado no outro acabando.
Tá na vida. Duas equipas só. Ganha espaço aqui à frente, se não tiver ninguém no nosso espaço.
Acho que não tem. Vão ter o Texel.
Faz setup deep.
Sim, vou fazer agora.
Tá aqui um gajo à minha frente, foda-se.
Três equipas.
Na vida, o gajo está a recuar, está nos minis, está a recuar, recua full.
I think
Ganha
Vamos
espaço.
Querer might actually win this.
Relando full, segura, tô relando full.
They've
Tá
got
puxado à
themselves
direita?
triple
Tá
red.
puxado do nosso lado?
I think they've got this one building themselves, right? I think the other two teams are
Acho que
closer to
sim.
another.
Sim, então.
Tô com você. Não vejo
nada.
Então não sei.
One's probably
That's
playing
not
up on the
well.
height, right?
Podem estar perto e tentar surpreender. Pode ser também um solo.
Não, acho que é todo time full. Não sei, não vou passar qual que eu não sei.
It's really quiet.
Faz só setup aqui, nesta paradinha.
Sai.
Se calhar jogas do... Não, no do AI não dá.
No high não tem ninguém, é meu.
Tá aqui um solo, só é rato.
Nice.
Morto?
Alright.
Toca na outra equipa agora.
So then where's the last player? Is it a solo?
Não, tu não precisas.
Me ajuda a pegar o high, guys.
Right?
Pegar o high, guys.
Não precisas ganhar o AI.
Is it a solo?
Vocês têm Digi?
Tem. Não. 80 na mega.
Kings.
Yeah, this is a solo, right?
Mega crack.
Vou seguir, guys.
Eles têm ulti com... Eles têm a sentinel
Maybe
descarregada. Tenta não picar.
No, there's at least 2.
Eu tenho bocadinho.
There was another one on the right side.
Não precisamos sacar. Eles têm que vir para nós, Kings. Espera pelo meu ulti, 25%. Se eles derem swing, fazemos só play juntos, ok?
But
Se
you
eles
can see that
pararem,
they're not
fazem tudo.
overextending
Eu confio
too
na vossa
quick,
cara.
right? They're going to try and use the smoke to be able to at least cut line of sight. Unfortunately,
We'll take
Kishera is going to take a lot of damage here.
Pronto, joga só no close. Só temos que abrir os três no mesmo ângulo. 15%. Ali ao fundo. Podemos abrir à direita, se calhar? Temos ângulo?
Looks like there's at least 2. It might be a
Vou abrir os três na
3v2 here.
direita. Eu vou dar resetzinho. 10%,
Which would
guys.
explain why the 2's not wanting to
Olha,
push.
guys, eles estão no aberto, guys. Ai, não, estão ali à esquerda.
No, it's a
Ok,
full
vocês
3.
estão a ter
2
que
of them on the
trabalhar
right,
agora.
and then one's
Eu tô
actually
low.
inside the
Eu vou
building.
abrir agora. Kings, joga junto, ó.
Oh, bro.
És tu.
Yep. Now Kings has to try and clutch us out as a 1v3.
Fico triste.
Clean up for UAIM.
And it's UAIM who comes out on top,
with
huh?
the 6 KP down to the very end, cleaning up the last 2 members as well. UAIM come out on top, and what a performance too. They felt pressured to close in the gap right there. Once they put down the cat wall, that's something that Vamos Querer does not have. They do not have a catalyst to work with, so they were just waiting. They would be more than willing to play the waiting game there, being the green light for UAIM to know they have to take advantage there. They already put their gap closer in, and now they have to put themselves in reposition to take that fight.
I am so curious how this turned out in the points, though, because of the contrasting compositions that we already saw and discussed in that last ring. Vamos Querer just simply didn't have the ordinances, the cooldowns, and most importantly, the abilities, period, to actually fight up against a squad that all 3 had very active abilities to work with. And so I am curious whether this move from a squad that lands over at wall, that farmed up along the edge of the zone, actually got them more points than a team on the other side, like UAIM, that was constantly looking for close range fights.
Yeah, it's really interesting to see how that all played out here. I want to see more about what went down in that last game too, Dia, with the highlights showing us the rotation points, but also our early fights that we were able to see come down to mill right from the very beginning.
I did feel a little bit bad for Made in Heaven here, especially after having such a good match day just yesterday.
Yeah, should have been contested.
Early eviction from Mill did
Should have been
not do them a lot of
contesting Mill,
favors,
dog.
especially when the zone is coming over to you. That's when contests can be especially punishing, because you know that had you simply won the early fight, you could have easily gotten yourself to a top 3, much like we saw Aftermath doing. On the other side of this, of course, we had this big battle that was coming in from the east, and while Checkpoint was certainly crowded, it was a lot of teams that came in from the Millage, from the Cenote area, that ended up taking fights much like this one, that ultimately did lead to the death of Alliance, but we got a little cheeky trying to slide down the hill with so many teams in the area.
Yes, it was a perfect opportunity to move in for the third party. The catwall basically being that shiny beacon to let these other teams rotating know that they were able to take advantage of a lack of sight, and also getting to see Aftermath after they did come out on top from that 50-50. There were counter rotation
how's
from
the
the middle,
volume,
trying
by
to
the
make
way?
sure
Y'all
they could
can
stave
hear
off
the
any other teams that
broadcast
wanted
at
to approach that north
decent
side.
amount?
We saw a lot of action happening in the building over to the east side of
Turn
Mill.
up a little bit.
While so many of these other teams were fighting for their life with an insane stick on the Arc Star, navigating and getting a double here, but it's still in front of so many other teams. Go next, were quickly taken out. It was Vamos Querer on their rotate from the wall over to the other side to find themselves.
I'm not
over on
gonna
the south
lie,
side of
the
Mill,
more I look
where they
at
were
it,
able to
I
not only
really like
look to
the
see where that next circle was
slower
going
play by
patiently at the
UAIM here
start
on
of the game,
this.
but then be demons at the very end to get the KP that they needed before they got second.
Some really nice damage from Kings, and I'd be hesitant to underestimate Vamos Querer. This was a fantastic game from them, but not nearly as good as picking up the win for UAIM. Plenty of damage, of course, is going to come with a composition like this that is meant to get up in your face and to take you down.
Look at this out here. We're talking about Sonya coming in with the 6 KP, 1800 damage, but it looks like overall this entire squad is on the same page. You'd love to see it with a great first game. Can they keep up that the momentum? That is the question here. Now taking a look at the results from our first game, We saw the 50-50 happen in the very beginning. Now, taking a look at UAIM getting 10 KP, finishing with a total of 22 points. Vamos Querer still getting 8 KP there in second place. Looking all the way down.
Aftermath
even to
with
Le
8
Site de France,
KP, though.
We saw we're in a little bit of trouble when they wanted to prioritize their rotate to down B's to then get that circle beacon information.
Now, we know that UAIM and Vamos Querer got a lot of kills. They dwarf the rest of the lobby, but the two teams that stand up to them are Aftermath, who landed themselves in the top 10, and Alliance, who with 6 kills still did go out relatively early, but changed
a decent
their
day
points
though.
In the story of
I was gonna say a 7-point
by
day, like
doing
7-point
so.
game, solid.
They placed themselves
Well,
so
I'll put 'em,
far
like,
above,
6th.
again, in terms of points, the rest of the bottom 10, that they should still be in contention for even a top 5 position moving out of this first game.
Love to see how all of
tied for
game 1
6th.
has already played out. I'm excited to see how these next 2 games play on Stormpoint. That's right, we still have a lot more Stormpoint action coming to you guys soon on the other side of this break.
All right, chat, here is going to be updated scores after game 1. I'm going to step away, go use the restroom real quick. Catch a quick ad, even though I know we had a disconnect. Cry about it.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another moment here in game 2. About to be whose moment? We'll find out. It's Rain Day and Dia. Last game, we saw UAIM and Vamos Querer battle it out 3v3. I love it. You know, put a boxing ring between those two, around those two, and it's just a showdown between who can win a fight. And it was obviously UAIM who had the pressure and the poise to just push what little advantage that they had, which was not allowing the advantages of the Watson from Vamos Querer to kind of keep building up, forcing them into you know, a slower play. And Dia, obviously that worked really, really well for them.
Yeah, we talked about how Stormpoint is really a map where you're rewarded for taking as much space as possible, and UAIM exemplified that by using things like the Catalyst Wall and Bangalore smokes effectively and obnoxiously, I dare say, in order to make the Watson fences just a little bit of a visual impediment, but really nothing else. They were nice decorations. They didn't end up serving any purpose.
Are we already over the Bangalore meta? Is that what it is? People just over the smokes now, Dia?
I think that some pros are definitely starting to try and move on. It's really difficult though when Bangalore provides so much value, and it's funny because if you'd told me 2 years ago that Bangalore was going to be meta, I would have laughed in your face. This is not something that anybody expected to happen, but Bangalore has gained so much value in the past year of Apex Legends as things do become a lot about not just actually fighting, which Bangalore is really good at, but covering you from a distance with the smokes.
You know, I think
covering for rotates, covering for revives.
Depends. Everyone's always, in my opinion, it's easy to be used to the meta, say I want something to change, want something to shift. You know, we have seen Horizon and Catalyst and Bangalore, kind of what I call the occlusion meta, where there's just a lot of visual occlusion that you're having to play around, versus where maybe we had more shielding heavy metas, or you know, defensive metas where we're in buildings, we have Newcastles or Gibraltars or things, or Watsons heavily running the table. I think now it's more about how do you play in open space, yet that space is occluded. I think that Bangalore too, her stock has risen not only just because the fact that this legend, this map, Stormpoint, I think, has lent itself to characters who can play in open spaces and have universal and utility solutions for not common problems. It's not always a clear path of where you have to walk to you, but also the fact that there's a lot of legends that have kind of come and gone, and Bangalore's just a very solid pick. She's got pretty much 3 abilities that are just guaranteed to provide value, and things rise and fall. She's like that stable choice where it's like, hey, kind of makes sense to invest in this character. We're gonna get something out of it.
Yeah, no matter what, whether you are up close and personal, where she can move so much faster, or of course at a distance where, as we've talked about, the smokes are providing a lot. And that's the rule of thumb that we can use for a lot of the legends that we're seeing just be meta in ALGS right now. When we look at things like Horizon, whether you are playing Zone or Edge, she's going to be really important for being able to move your team from one place to another. And of course, having somebody like your Fragger on a Horizon means that you have so much.
I'm gonna actually refresh this real quick because we seem to be having issues with a couple of our streams. Probably a good time to do that anyways. Wise is in their contest. Let's hang on board with them.
I kicked him. Well, he dropped with me. He dropped with me though.
They're on the bins. Careful there.
Yeah, I'm
taking a car.
Yeah, going lightning rod.
I'm going thunder.
You guys are 2v2.
I boosted thunder.
I got fucked, bro.
Can I take the cannon?
Nah, not really.
I need help. You need to.
I'm looting the building. Can you come down?
So he has no weapons right now to be able to help.
Bangalore's really far away.
I can't help effect though. I
Yo, kill Bangalore with me. He's over here.
I don't have a gun. No gun.
I'm gonna kill you.
Give me. Yeah. They're chasing me.
There's no gun here.
All right, so now he's armed up. He should be able to push in with with Yuki and effect here now. The only problem is, like, man, they don't really have much, bro. You got a blue and 2 white tees.
Yeah, we are.
Okay, I'm coming in the car. Can we boost?
I think there's
Let me know where are they?
I don't see it.
Okay. Just get in the
car. Where's the Bangalore?
Come here. They already took it, I think. Get in the car and we go thunder. Get in the car and we go thunder.
Yeah.
Go fast. Give me whenever you have. 1 sec.
Just heal in the car.
I have no shields.
Okay, good.
All right.
This fucking POI sucks so much dick.
Yeah.
Alright, careful the solar here. Blue armors here, 2 of them.
Took one. I'm scout RE right now.
You are?
Take the fresh blue here.
All right. So they're gonna separate at their contest. They still contesting down here at Mill or no?
We don't fight in Horizon. What the fuck is this?
I'm fighting.
Beast first. Focus on beast. Curve. I don't see him.
Give me a second
He's gonna crawl to west, Flush, maybe. Horizon. He's gonna crawl west.
Not the reach. Like, yeah, that's what I'm looking at.
Do we see these guys or no?
Do you see Beast?
No.
Beast is chill?
Yeah, I don't see them.
Yeah, let's look for the knock. And we reset.
Southwestern side, excuse me, and then one still
pop back in the main broadcast real quick while I continue.
Middle. You've got to wonder, well, we have to 50-50. Maybe we just commit.
All right,
to
so it looks like this is going to go devastated.
We split our players. We don't
coast?
try to contest and have all of Mill because we know what ExoClan is going to potentially try to do. It's going to be an inevitable situation, and we don't want that type of thing. We want to be able to play around it. Orgless and Hungry looking to play around an introduction here into this fight. Bolt in hand. Hits 30 early, trying to get some damage and apply some pressure, but gets hit right back. Good thing, though, the Radiant transfer.
I really enjoy seeing
but now he's forced to hold.
Rain Day like back on the actual like play-by-play casting, man.
Off from the
instead of just like simply in the host role.
Gives them the chance to move into the center of Echo HQ. Now Orgless and Hungry can fight, if not with the high ground, at least with even footing, and are doing so quite well. Dancing around the Thermites, now finally swinging all as a team around this Catalyst wall, almost taking down one, but missing out on the damage by just a bit. Defensive gravity lift doesn't come in yet as Unlucky swings again. One knock on Ozzy the Owl. Orgless and Hungry taking a reset. This is unpushable position.
Yeah, and now it's just leading to their advantage as well because they've already got one knock. It's going to be impossible to get
now
it down.
They've got to worry about
battery at the same time.
Phoenix Legacy pushing in behind them. Let's actually sit on board with them as they come in for the 3P.
People have come behind us.
Yeah, just go for the house.
They're fighting again.
I just instigating their fight, basically. We can maybe look for something here.
Yeah, do you guys have range?
Oh, so they're not actually 3P in this. They're just trying to be a nuisance to the
I
fight.
heard a zipline on this side. Maybe. Just saying maybe. I don't know.
Sino to leave and he's gonna rest. Either that or they go to
They're
the
just
fucking
chilling on
barometer.
prowlers. Do we have anybody else that's actually in a fight? I don't think so.
I'm looking for Aurora. I don't see them anywhere so far.
Aiden Heaven's having a struggle bus of a day, man. They had a good first session yesterday.
They're on prowlers. Somebody's doing prowlers. They did prowlers right now.
I have no gun. If it's Aurora, we can't rat high.
That fight, you're trying to make it hard for someone else to survive around you and make them play with a man down, play with a type of handicap so that you put yourself in a position to be more successful as a full 3 later on in this game. A lot of teams betting that this southern side of the map will be where this game ends, which is why you see so many so far in this cramped area. Doesn't mean
They're crafting.
Look like there's somebody right here next to Phoenix Legacy down in their buildings, no? Or were they under them?
I'm going back.
No, they're like right next to each other. What?
I just need energy.
It actually might be the duo under us.
To be honest, I have no clue who the fuck is it.
It's probably Vex, because one from Vex team.
So it looks like Orgulus and Hungry. Oh no, they're not out. It's just their duo.
We have a problem, and there they are.
I'm playing outside. That's not already team playing outside, or?
Oh, my teeth.
Could be.
Replicator there.
All right, well, we're not getting anything out of here. I thought we were about to have a fight. I thought it looked like Graceful's squad was like right there with them, but apparently not.
ESG sitting on 12th place. Blasts, Lufka, Light. Lufka finding his squad here, trying to see a home. And with the Horizon, trying to see a player as well. Doesn't see much yet on the 30-30 with the Ranger scope at 3 times. My preferred scope in game as well. A lot of players like this one. 2x4 will also work, but won't go any farther than that. It's a nice little middle ground for a weapon that sometimes can become your last-ditch effort with some hip fire to try and seal the deal when you miss a few too many bullets on that SMG. But big overview here, Dia. What are you seeing as this map does indeed start to pull with these zones? You can tell south as Phoenix Legacy 202 and these squads have predicted.
And keeping an eye on Valkyria, who are just now rotating into ring. Remember, this is a team that was running Valkyrie last
Aurora's about to be
game,
on fighting Aftermath down here.
has made a big difference.
Can we go up? Open to make it. Yeah. I'm out in. Can we get?
I want to sit on board with actually Aurora on their side.
Я хилюсь пока, не могу. Я хилюсь.
Я так
Я хилюсь и помогу, я плыву за ними. В маркете, подождите меня, я сейчас хлопану.
Even though I know I can't understand their comms like we can Aftermath, but...
Крякла одного точнее. Один вот сзади, вот идет.
Давай нижнего выймем.
Я в него. Я иду,
На мне ката. Да, одно хп харда вернее.
Хилюсь.
На мне карта одно.
Не могу помочь,
Я
соло.
Одно.
Getting the conduit down is big. Should be a 2v1 here now for Aurora.
Залтай.
Be a shield swap for Hardeki here.
Не успею, наверное.
Спокойно. Успел.
Окей.
Я сейчас буду байтить нарез, слышишь?
And I'm guessing the remaining survivor, yeah, gonna back down here.
Oh my god.
It's stall.
No heals. No heals.
Yeah, that's unfortunate, bruv.
For them to get all the way in, and Orgus and Hungry waiting for them on Barometer. That's going to be a tough one. We'll follow that story
So it feels
in
bad,
just a
fam.
moment as we pick up with Lecite de France in 9th place, pushing in downhill.
May very well go over a team, as Jurassic is where we'd find our late rotators into the next ring. There was a little bit of crafting over here earlier, and for that very reason, LCDF would sure like to rotate through without a fight, but they are going to be unable to do it, as getting shot from afar by Exo Clan makes things a lot more difficult. Aftermath do go down. Stalezy was unable to out-heal the ring, and it was only going to get more difficult in the next couple of seconds, as now the circle constricts even further.
Chat, we're
and the
gonna
damage
do a
take
quick
takes
60-second
a tick up.
on Twitch, just to make
Now,
sure
the
we're good through the rest of the match.
Big thing to note with Aurora still out there, you mentioned Aftermath and obviously falling out. The thing is, they have the trident. Yes, the zone is going to start pulling, but as long as they've been able to heal up, they should be able to cover a decent bit of distance. So that top squad that a lot of people are looking at, still alive and ready. Orgless and Hungry, a solo, has made their way into the zone as well.
Take a look around
and
real
as we
quick.
can see, Alliance, a team falling out of
The Orgless and Hungry still a solo.
in game 1. Can they break that
Aftermath
run that
out,
they've been
it looks
having?
like.
Some crafting done by Hockeys. Just trying to get up.
Everybody else
to
that we're
next
watching
level.
looks like is a full
And it
trio.
might be the Evo shield that he's working.
Who's fighting down here? You aim in a fight?
Alright.
Ничего, ничего. Сейчас справимся.
Да, у них еще чат Джа, они сейчас будут под это подходить.
They got the triple blues. They don't have much as far as in the armor category here currently. You do have the conduit, obviously, who can help you out a little bit in that department.
Там unplayable.
А вниз мы...
Там сейф-пикселя нету?
А вот
They're pretty
здесь
on
мы не
the
можем
farther,
туда
like,
заставить?
southern side of the zone currently, which, like, the good news for them right now is they
Несколько
can...
секунд.
Не, нам только тут.
They don't have to really worry about anybody behind them. It looks like they have one team over at the armory, but
Ну, не пикайте сейчас просто.
Давай, я под заливку буду.
otherwise, back at Devastated Coast, they should be pretty well clear.
Там ног. 9-9 Horizon. Да, да, да.
Oh, they do have
Но
a
под нами
player
щелы
over there.
до сих пор. Мы ничего не можем сделать. Вот там можно посмотреть, попробовать пострелять разве что.
What your economy looks like to be able to
It
be
looks like
put in a
Orgless and Hungry
situation
able to
where
get
the
back
things
up as
you
a
don't
3.
do, because you know you won't be able to survive too long. Right now, we've seen a lobby that has consistently stayed pretty dispassionate in terms of fights, except for the early game. Go down to 18 squads. Still a majority of our teams alive and well. Only
18
6
squads,
players down
everyone's a
total,
full squad right
and
now.
We are here midway through Ring 3. It's about to be a very cramped space, and I'm not sure there's enough room for everybody soon.
I'm pouring one out for Orgless and Hungry right now. From a fight at Echo HQ that lost them a member, to crafting their beacons at Barometer, to rezzing in Jurassic and taking a gravity cannon, and now having to rotate all the way to Echo HQ with 3 teams on their back.
That's tough.
Orgless and Hungry are not having a good game, and many of the teams in Pylon are going to be feeling that way by the end of it. Made in Heaven even trying to fight their way into Echo HQ around this really
Forge gonna take
awkward
out Made in
angle.
Heaven.
Will
Bro,
be
Made in
shut
Heaven's
down
been
on the
having a
board.
struggle
Play
today.
Gatekeepers for this team, as they will for many others that try and pass this.
Looks like
gravity
Aurora's
cannon
about to be
and
going out
access
as well.
the next ring.
Forge, a lot to prove. Great players, great parts of our community, from Reply Totems to Forge as well.
Wow.
Jay Savage and Phoenix Slayers.
Our decky just went down.
They've been doing.
Or the
such a
whole
great
squad
job
went
of
down for
staying middle
Aurora.
of the
That's
pack.
weird.
Can they push that envelope here? They have to hit a few of these shots to do so. Sometimes just
Unfortunate.
realizing when a fight is lost could be the difference. And so maybe they say, we can't win this one. We've already lost Phoenix. Let's just try to survive and get some more KP. Vex realize they are in the advantage.
Let's actually go sit in with Vex as they're fighting and moving their way into the zone here. They've got zone on their butt. This is ring 3, so it does hurt a little bit.
They're playing all that too.
Just take my back here. Take my back and fly.
I'm queuing up
Take
on
my
it.
back and fly.
Let's go, let's go, let's
Yeah,
go.
go, go, go. Okay. Smoke at them. Just take it. You gotta stand it anyway. Nah, we're dead as fuck.
I'm dead.
Just survive effect, rat. Survive and rat.
Yeah, I know.
Damn.
Everyone's just shooting me.
Rough go of things, bruv.
We've got very few seconds left on his life. In fact, we're going to stay with it. As
Damn,
Effect
Alliance
does
out in
go
16.
down. There was an awkward move from them, and I did respect the gravity.
Like, we used Conduit ulti and we used Horizon ulti. We should have just.
Oh, this is someone else. Them watching someone else. Do you have anybody else that's like moving in and fighting currently? I don't think so.
Being an easy target for people to shoot at. But the problem is
Aurora
they're
out
running into
15th.
these edge fights that don't go their way. And you could argue that the teams that do win those have a great position, but they've run into Vamo Carrere and they've run in now to LVH, who have been stalwart in their defenses, and Alliance hasn't found a choice. Maybe it's the way these zones are pulling. Maybe it's just the
XO's
rotation
about to be
styles.
out.
Maybe it's the pace. We don't know what is the problem with Alliance, but yet again, another 14th, 15th
I mean, I
place
feel like
finish.
there
This
was
is
just an
not what we
unfortunate
expect.
rotation.
We're gonna have to see if they prove us wrong here in their final game. They've got one more in Storm Point.
If there's
before
one thing that we
switch
know
it up.
about like some of the
Stay
best
healthy
teams,
on the low ground here, looking with grenades.
is that
Not
they'll
much to do,
they'll be able to
Dia, just
capitalize
using
when they
the
get zones.
cover
And I don't
of
think
the
Alliance
buildings
has
to
really
stay
gotten any
underneath,
so
and
far,
obviously
right?
There's a team up above that they don't really want to
Thinking
grab
back
too
to
much
last week,
attention with.
like I feel like they've always kind of
As
been like
Codex
long
have stayed
rotating.
alive. and pushing the envelope here, trying to kind of act as their own version of a wall for any teams trying to poke their way through.
LCDF, as we did discuss, stuck on this side of Pylon with so many others, and Orgless and Hungry again on the wrong side of this
he
fight.
saw a body there
LCDF
for a
on the
second.
verge of taking them down, but with just Psycop and needing to come up to the high ground as well, this could get dicey. Psycop doesn't connect for a whole lot of damage. 202 go down. We're into the top 12, but Psycop, again, fighting low ground to high, is likely to die here, and both squads are certain to die on the next zone close. That's the most difficult part of this.
And
At this point, basically, you're just hoping that maybe you eliminate a squad, you get the KP, and maybe another team goes out, so you're able to move up into the top 10.
You're only getting a couple points. Placement above 15. Big shots from Psycop, though. He might have just answered that. I think there was the attempt to try to go. And Psycop hitting so many shots. I am, wow, impressed there. Look at that. Unlucky. We knew he could aim well, but
All right, let's go hang on board with Kishira.
Joga só safe.
Vamos,
Holy
Kishira squad.
fuck, eu quase que dei troll.
They've got zone here currently.
Continua,
Looks like.
é só escarar, é só escarar. Está nada nas costas. Não podemos levar o all cap desta equipa, malta. Um de nós tem que ficar sempre cravado ali.
So since they do have zone and since they do have the inside, they're not going to really be doing much right now. Let's go see who else we got where. Let's go hang on board with YoAim.
Я пойду его слетаю быстро. Вообще нихуя нету. Кого-то состань.
В поле 1 хп, 1 хп.
Я их пикну.
Rocking triple purple here.
Они сдохли, еще идут. За зоной почти убил еще одного.
Там еще один?
Не, вот там,
а вот тут?
Мы это можем подсосать вообще, смотри, что они там делают.
Наверное.
Блядь, я смог дал.
Yo, loading up.
Давай.
Я ультанул туда.
Getting the gun ready for endgame here. YoAim looking to go back to back.
Останется в ульте один. Фулка. Бэк, мне кажется, бэк.
They've got to make sure that they can wrap up this fight relatively quickly and then start making sure that they're... I was going to say start rotating towards zone, but then, you know, Max Strafey just does that. What the f...
Двое заслайдили вниз. У меня дикий талант нету.
Зафинишит килл, я
Я зафинишил, да.
Точно? Да, хорошо, давай зафинишил. Я подлутаюсь.
Лут.
Куда они убежали? Туда?
Да, направо.
Я захилюсь, я без дичитала играю. У меня Винман почти 0.
Because now they're chilling. They're going to rotate in a little bit later. They do have a long rotate, though. You can see, I mean, they've got a bit of a ways to go here.
Мы пройдем, но эти вдвоем у меня...
Вот этих надо отмочить.
Oh, they are... Yeah, this is not good.
У тебя ульта будет?
У меня, да, но мне нужна заливка.
Справа смотрит Макс, аккуратно.
Ну, у нас нет выбора, я вот так играю.
Хорошая стенка, очень.
Вот тут если пикнут, надо тут смог дать.
Free to win it. Has a chance to maybe do that again. Max Strafey getting that med kit off, now trying to get the shield battery. Zone starting to pull. These teams on the northwestern side of what...
Hold on here.
Just save on me.
Bro, Phoenix Legacy, again. Late kind of ending, or late, or alive kind of late. Doesn't look like they've got much KP. It does look like they're prioritizing placement.
Yeah, I don't have my ult.
That's fine.
I'm stunned. Yeah, I'm ready, go.
Team here, bottom.
Sabs is a good IGL.
I killed you. No digi. Yeah, I don't have a digi either.
I would love to see them make land.
Crack, knock on. Nice, call you have enough. Done.
No.
Damn.
Shot in the bag. Yeah.
Unlucky as fuck.
Unfortunate.
Тут поставила стенку.
Одно хп у Каты. Одно хп там у нее.
Jump back on board with YoAim here. Let's see if they can go back to back.
Понял.
400.
У меня ДТшка есть. Я под бэком немного. Я с терса хочу захолдить. Посмотреть.
Yeah, and I've been through her stream. Like, she seems pretty chill.
Нейды.
Макс один пикаешь.
Да,
У меня баллон есть.
Нам не надо, мы играем с терсом.
Мы с баллоном, окей.
Мы с терсом.
I'm a fan.
Слышите, мне кажется, в лоу-граунде. Гайс, в лоу-граунде, мне кажется, двойка. Вот тут.
Окей, Макс один тогда.
So we've got 4 squads left. We've got YoAim. We've got Vamos Curer.
Вот здесь. Они на этом, на...
Окей, тогда бэкайте. Играем тогда от меня. Играем от меня, пацаны, пул.
Vamos Curer is going to at least get the benefit of not being around any of the early fight, I believe.
Мы можем легко развлекать чела в инсайде вот тут. Вообще элементарно. Дохуя урона ебал, но не оверпикайте по центру.
Nice.
Не получайте, да.
Start there just to make him uncomfortable.
Окей, они в любой момент могут в нас въебаться.
Because you've got...
У нас вот здесь чуть-чуть зона еще
Я на
есть.
броник на свап иду приносить.
See if they show it again.
Я смотрю над тобой.
On the top floor is YoBoyCue.
0 лидов, я уже
У
чекал.
меня один
I can't remember Graceful's team name,
Иди,
so
иди,
y'all are
иди,
gonna have
стой,
to
стой, давай ему там это быстрее.
throw me a bone. But he's on, I'm pretty sure his team's on the right, the one that they were originally shooting at.
Прям в меня выскочить, пока вы...
So you've got Kashera's squad up here, Graceful's squad over here. I don't know who the final team is, or where they are.
А вот эта игра видно?
А там челы. Нет, нет, нет.
Вот этот спуск именно.
Нет, нет, нет. По-моему, нет.
Oh, it's Cold.
Это катушку где поставить?
Actually, it looks like Cold is the one who they're shooting at here. I thought this was... Oh, wait, is Cold
Вот
Graceful's
чел у
team?
меня. Сквад.
Я хилюсь.
Окей, они...
Говори, если
Их
ты...
будет.
Ага.
Нормально, нормально.
Нас пойду, да?
Они, возможно, прыгать в нас будут. Вот
Я
здесь
с тобой, я с
двое.
тобой. Они будут, они точно будут. Им некуда.
Не, вперед, пошли.
There's a team on the backside here. They're going to be able to flush them in.
Дал нету, горит.
Skynade.
Иди, как...
Hold on. Hold on.
Ты разъебал, ты их разъебал на
Strafe, you got two of them with that
У
nade.
меня сейф. Я лезу, пикать.
Челы с
Does UAIM win this?
Фулл фокус по мейну теперь.
UAIM might win this.
Рез.
Внутри ресает.
Я не
Можем
вижу.
на топ-2 сыграть.
Не надо там топ-2. Я вижу. Мы на топ-1.
Моя ульта, моя ульта.
Там один, там один.
Only thing is they have to worry about YoBoyCue. I think YoBoyCue is just going to wait and take second here. Is that what they're doing?
Я ебал стену, чтобы засловить. Мы можем убить его, блядь.
I think YoBoyCue is just going to be content with second. Yeah.
Я до киллы
So that means they just win.
Вдвоем, идите вдвоем, пацаны, надо фраги. Просто попадите, блядь, по ним.
Все, ласт сейчас умрет.
Найс.
Wow. So they go back to back. It's just that easy. Damn.
Красавчики.
А Макс просто без перерыва ждет.
Who ended up being, in reality, the last team that UAIM had to fight. YoBoyCue sitting on the inside for so long left them with no choice but to tank zone damage whilst fighting. That was a devastating finish, but a very good one from UAIM.
I wonder why they didn't push
they played that outside so well. One of the teams that is pushing in, taking fights at the right time, and we saw it again and again. We saw it from the low ground, being able to swing in.
I think they were trying to keep an eye on the fight between UAIM and Cold, and we're hoping that maybe if YoBoyCue or if UAIM like drops one, then maybe they push out.
This kind of style. Now, I guess that's the bigger question too, Dia. Do you need to overcome it? You're doing everything that you need. You're getting second place finishes, tons of points. If this keeps up, you'll get a second or first place overall in this split day. So at the end of the day, I think that's all you could be hoping for. I'm pretty sure Kashera is very happy with his team, even though they're not getting the wins. But let's walk through the highlights of that.
Yeah,
game
I mean, back-to-back seconds.
It was slow, and then chaos.
This
Our top two are
really early on for Echo HQ determined so much of the rest of the game that it was the
I don't remember seeing Cold in the
way that
kill feed much. I don't know if they added much KP
remember
for
the
them.
Phoenix Legacy, even though we didn't discuss them a lot in the late game, also changed the course of it for good by coming over and forcing Orgless and Hungry to ultimately lose a member, push 202 at a disadvantage, and then recover through Pylon back into the zone. It claimed so many teams on the way in, and that's to say nothing of teams like Aurora that were constantly fighting on the edge of the ring. Teams like Les Cités de France that were doing exactly the same, and Alliance, who Rain Day, again, did not get their
VH is a team that easily could have taken this out, but they show up just a
We'll just refresh everything because we know there's going to be sound issues, chat. It really just did that to me. Bruv. I'm hurt.
for now and split. They may have to adjust and land if they make it there to get the ultimate prize. This was match one. Team comparison between YoBoyCue.
Oh, they had a decent amount of kills. I didn't realize they had that many kills for YoBoyCue.
The way of UAIM assists, but overall damage, YoBoyCue edging them out just a little bit.
And it's just by a touch, but so much of VQ's damage does come from the mid game where they're navigating squads, even like UAIM, that were rotating below them. A lot of their kills coming from this as well. VQ do take fights, but very rarely are they engagements that are straight up 3v3s. They are almost always third parties to God spots, and I can totally attribute that to the IGLing of this team. Their fights are going well because they've got talent, but their fights are winning them games because they're picking the right ones at the right time.
Who do we want to have as our last view?
That is a very, very good point. You have experience like Kashera, who's been in those moments, been in the literal position to win a LAN, and also been in the position to lead this
Something tells me
league,
Maiden
to
have
win,
to still
a split, to
pulls
win a
off a
championship,
good
a
back
playoff
half of this lobby.
championship a few years ago, where people were very, very upset about it. 11 games had gone. They thought other people deserved it, but no, it's who takes the win. I think it's a good sign for Kashira to get back into winning form. Obviously a new squad, but are we seeing the development of a little rivalry here, at least today? UAIM, Vamo, Carrere. If game 3 gives us the exact same thing, I'm going to say this isn't a coincidence. We might be seeing this a lot more in our B versus C matchups in EMEA whenever it happens. But overall, top 10, Dia, what stands out to you?
Of course, we talked about our top 2. What stands out here is Phoenix Legacy, who have made their way again, at least in terms of placements there. And
but again, like, you can't just get on placement because you don't start really getting any placement points until what?
This game. When you
third?
See a
I mean,
gap
fourth
in
to
the
get
kills
5
like
is a
that
decent amount
among
of
the
points, I
rest,
guess.
you have to point it out. LVH clearly had something going this game, albeit it was cut short.
You know, Graceful and Cole, JMW, and obviously being able to have that type of experience on the squad, and joined us last broadcast as well, gave us some great thoughts and awarenesses. You know, this is something that I think is a good sign for Cold going into the rest of these games. We've got 4 more for the day. Orglis and Hungry, you know, 4 kills, that'll do a lot. Remember, Phoenix Legacy plays 6, they only have 3 points. Orglis and Hungry have 5. So it shows you, even though placement doesn't always,
I feel like you should, unless you're getting top 3, you should be prioritizing kills.
France as well, and Aurora, a team that I think we have to keep our eyes on. Alliance, though, this is maybe my biggest story. It's not a positive story, but there's always a chance to do it. This is the end of the beginning. We've wanted to see them start off strong the way they ended last year. It was a disappointing day 1. It is looking like they have to make a strong and quick shift here in day 3 to change that narrative, Dia.
And it really is. And speaking of shifts, I can't help but look at Aftermath, who in the course of 1 game have gone from Gods of Mill to not making it into Ring 2. They do still hold a nice place overall, but the disparity between those 2 positions says a lot about Aftermath's game plan when it comes to zones that do not pull directly to them. And I'll be keeping my eye on this squad during especially match 3.
I mean, is it the Caster curse here? Alliance, Aurora, and Orglis and Hungry all in the bottom 10? Are we responsible for this? Dia, is this should we have switched it up? I mean, you know,
my lawyer has advised me not to
I
speak.
love how you could tell that Dia's on his
so
back on his
mine.
medicine ball.
He
sits on a lot of them.
I hope you guys are having fun with us. We are.
I'm pretty sure he said he sits on it mostly for his cast.
We're gonna go to break. We'll be back with some more casting and some more action. Game 3, our final game of Storm Point, coming up.
All right, let's see if we've got updated scoreboards. We do, so let's go ahead and plug those in over on YouTube and Twitch. I'm gonna go pee here before we get to game 3.
Welcome back, everybody, here to the ALGS. We are just finished with game number 2 within EMEA for Groups B and C. And Dia, that did not disappoint whatsoever. The teams that needed to perform, well, they're here and they're performing. YoAIM staying on top with 2 back-to-back wins. They have one last game on Stormpoint, and with this team, looking at their history after the last time that they got to play, they're looking to possibly be a very Stormpoint heavy team right now. Yesterday, they finished 2nd, 8th, and 7th on Stormpoint, but then on World's Edge, when we made that transition, they finished 19th, 17th, and 19th. Now, hopefully, this is the momentum that they need to continue on this domination while we make that transition.
It very well could be, Becky, and I want to
YoAIM
point
going to be our
out,
first
while
team
we're
to
here, we're looking
get
at this
bonus
graph that makes
points
it
in the
so
new
obvious. Bonus
ALGS
points
scoring?
are actually
Oh, that's what they're talking
achievable
about. That's
for
funny.
YoAIM right now. With 2 wins in a row, a 3rd win would get them a bonus point in the league on the day and push them further up the overall standings, starting to make them a lot bigger of a contender for LAN.
That's really interesting to talk about, actually. That's something that you have to factor in depending on if they get another dub as well. So with the points on top of the fact that they could possibly be looking at a 3rd win, that's all the favor
Could be 2
for
points.
that squad. So looking
maybe
at
3 points. I think if they win an additional game, right? If you win 3, you get 1, and then for every other game you win.
They're feeling pretty confident individually. Max Strafey, I believe, had finished that previous game with 5 KP, and the rest of his squad had 4 KP. So with their rotations and the timing on that, on top of taking the fights that they have been taking, they look like they're very cohesive today.
They really are, and a big part of this has been, shockingly to me, their capability to risk their entire game simply to get a few more KP, fully believing that they'll survive it. We saw it over in Echo HQ earlier, and we are likely to see it again as they are willing to go, you know what, we'll use an ult or 2. We'll
I want to sit on board the lines for the contest here.
They did last time. Sure? I'm pretty sure they had that skin.
Yeah, whatever. Just focus like we can just whatever.
Yeah. Alright.
Yeah, it wasn't.
Alright, keep an eye
I'm
on
gonna
it.
loot here then, yeah? You guys loot deep?
I'm looting right side. I'm looting
Okay.
looting the bins here.
Yeah. They could take cannon up top. What the fuck?
Right, why are you landing here?
Because I'm running here.
Listen to my comms.
Focus, bro. Shut up. Focus.
You said you went right side.
Focus up. Shut up.
That is the right
It's
side.
another south zone, coastal echo. This time we craft and we be fast. We just get armors, get the guns we
So
need. and then
Alliance, once again, is going to have a longer rotate here.
go. No, I have an Eva.
One sec. I can get to you. I can get to you.
Let me know when.
Yeah, now.
3, 2. Okay.
Oh.
I dropped a purple box somewhere, like next to this building. You can better loot the building too.
So they're not going to be contesting.
Wait, I'm stuck here. I cannot. I'm stuck, guys. Every door is.
Okay, I'm gonna come to me.
Go outside. Don't be afraid.
I don't see them. I think they're crossing to loot, bro. Come mid. Yeah, they're crossing now. I think.
We should push him.
Yep.
It feels like Aftermath has been the ones doing better here in this contest.
I'm gonna stop here.
Yeah, but they're holding.
They're probably feeling themselves right now, right?
I'm picking floor now.
I'm picking now.
I'm picking balcony bag. Two on me, boys. Yeah, they're roof.
Chill.
So he probably should not have pushed there yet.
They blocked me.
Wow, what a good
Run.
block with the catalyst there.
Just run.
That's actually a really good play. Not even worrying about pulling out the gun, not worrying about helping out the teammate, realizing that sealing off that door completely isolates Kira from the teammates. That's brilliant. Fucking brilliant.
On for that reset, so now you just got to make do with what you've got, and you got to go for a quick rotate because you already know that Aurora landing in Cenote Cave will be able to make their rotate very shortly as we take a look at another Southern Circle. Okay, so we have already had so far a circle over by Mill. We saw in game number 2 the Echo HQ end circle, and it's looking very similarly now in this game 3.
Yeah, this one's going to be more Echo HQ versus Devastated Coast. I feel like the other one was a little bit more
that Phoenix Legacy have again teleported themselves into this ring. Oh my lord, are they moving fast?
They're so quick with the Making their move from Jurassic all the way down there already here. When we take a look at this fight happening.
I mean, supps has the experience to be able to play them into good positions.
Saying how they're going to try
We've seen that already, right? What we need to start to see them doing is just taking fights. Even if you lose the fights early on this season, you've got to build that confidence. It just doesn't feel like they have it right now.
To take a look at individually, so many talented players that make up this team, but have been having a very slow start so far in the Pro League. Light though cleans them up and taking Vex out of this lobby as the first team out.
Great control of the angles, and ESG have certainly had their share of, especially in the last day, getting some early game fights in with their fight against Full English just yesterday, immediately off of drop. They have nobody else in the direct area, as even those squads that land command center are instead waiting for somebody to come pay them a visit.
Ratting.
It's all about the
rats
here. Quiet but deadly. Vamos querer. Landing here and waiting patiently.
A bunch of fucking rats.
They will not be moving. Loadout though, that's something we can definitely focus on. He's got the gold light mag. He's got this as his second weapon because they know after hearing that fight, look who's waiting in the distance. They get up from crouching, but it's ESG making their way over, Dia.
Oh, they can hear the spiders too. With all this data on ESG should go down immediately. Will they check their corners? They're already playing cautiously.
No, get his ass!
No, he doesn't know! Finds out right now the Lufka's
Got
already
him.
down. ESG in big trouble fighting the spiders and double carrier with Kashera on the run.
Get him, boys!
That was Lufka saying there's a disturbance in the forest. I don't feel safe here. Let me just, oh no, I regret everything. Kashera, the plan coming into fruition as they chase down the duo from behind, taking advantage of the sneaky play that they took advantage from Lufka.
Well, single kill is going to be plenty for them, it seems, as the full chase on ESG does not get completed. They'll finish off the spiders and make their way further through command center with an extra point to boot. Echo HQ, however, the place to be, as we've already seen through last game, has LVH starting to populate and make their way up the stairs. It is a battle for every inch of vertical space they're able to take, but they're making it work.
They're struggling right now. They're kind of separated.
Each side of where that next circle's pulling here as LVH.
Nice swing from Hanzo here.
Tricks knocked, but with the height, putting them in a vulnerable position. See, Wives now having to navigate around.
Oh, bro, got stuck on the bins.
That gravity lift, cleaning up the last straggler from no days off.
Damn.
That's our second team that we're saying goodbye to in this lobby before they wait to go onto World's Edge. But look how many teams have already made their way into Echo.
It's quite a bit, and because we had last game to prepare in this way, some teams are choosing not to rotate through pylon.
Trying to see if we got anybody
it's a whole lot easier now that it doesn't have
moving or anything. I don't think we do.
However, playing a very similar game to VQ, waiting for the kills to come to them. Stay healthy, you're not going to take the bait at the moment, but Aurora are playing, this time, a game that suits them a little bit better. They're not waiting outside of zone. They're instead trying to occupy space. And while this may be low priority space, it's still good for Aurora to be able to sit around the edge of the ring and pick their fights.
Right.
Waiting here.
They're going to have the truck with them. Get in the whip!
Coastal. I believe there's two teams around them here.
Who's got the key? Who am
Nobody
I?
gets left behind in the Aurora team here as they manage to actually get away from that situation. I do like the option to take the Trident here because you are very vulnerable if you are on foot, getting around that low ground land over by that new high ground that's made close to Coastal Camp. But what they really wanted was probably the ring beacon that was there. Whether they can't even get the
bro, look at all the whips over here.
Wait, maybe a survey instead for Rain to take advantage of. But that's just gonna go into the hands of Go Next while they make this.
All right, you aims in a fight over here at Echo. Realistically, they're going to try and play as small as possible right now. Sometimes we talk about teams, especially when they play like with the Watson, right? They try and play big and take up a lot of space. Not really going to be the case with UAIM currently. They're going to stack their players, take fights very, very cautiously.
and actually go to that congestion that you currently see the forward.
All right, Vamo Carrera is going to be moving their way into a very congested area down here at Echo HQ. True Kings is about to go down.
Faz ulti, Sense.
Yeah, they have somebody up above them.
Faz só tempo. Eles não conseguem picar aqui. Filho da puta!
Mano, o que vocês estão a fazer, bro?
Unfortunate for Vamos Carrera. Who was it that took him out? LVH?
I feel for them after this as well, because a Valkyrie ult into a surely safe spot, at least in their comms, did not work out.
Valkyrie feed
LVH
base.
offer no mercy to the squads that move in behind them, clearing their backs immediately as soon as they saw Flesh. That was a very nice play from LVH to make the move down, take the fight as efficiently as they did, and it means that they shouldn't have lost out on a lot of territory, still being able to control the high ground of Echo HQ, now 3 points the richer.
Crazy seeing the way that they've been playing this here too, with Lyfen taking control as the entry fragger for a lot of those fights that we just saw. I believe that actually allows them to hit 6 KP already with 17 squads left and them holding an amazing position for that next circle and where it's going to be pulling. Aurora.
Bro, look at the whips.
I don't think they have enough tridents here, honestly. I feel like they may need a 4th one if they really want to create that barrier with the rest.
What are we doing? I don't want this. I don't want it anymore.
Okay. I'm just gonna play with them. We need to be careful in tunnel vision and someone walks up with us.
That means Organs and Hungry.
I'm not gonna peek for now because I'm low.
We need to poke them as much as we can. Find out if they have Horizon. Very important.
Yeah.
Okay? I saw Bloodhound, I think.
Bang, I maybe found, yeah.
So they're overseeing. That's Aurora down there with the whips.
Alright, I think that's Horizon in there. Yeah, that's Horizon.
Aurora. For sure.
Yeah, it's Aurora.
That's like our prior then. Like they're the most dangerous for us. If they ever fight there,
yeah, it's Aurora right here.
Like even wiping it maybe fully.
Looks like Lasita France moving in to fight somebody at Pylon.
When you see the 112 pop up, it doesn't feel good.
The boat check makes your eyes water as it brisks through you, especially when you have a blue Evo shield like that. Oh, Flash, unfortunately going down right there with a nice little heady from Psychop.
So Psychop apparently just fucking Robin Hood out here. All right,
going
cool.
on to Pylon too, by the way. Looking ahead is Cold by the northern choke point. We saw already Lasita France hanging out by the northwest side.
Fucking Green Arrow out here.
And it's understandable. What they're fighting for is not only the high ground to get some KP, but there's not only a ring console there, but a survey beacon too. But that ring console is what all these teams want to look for.
I sure like the extra information. Stay healthy. The real beneficiaries in theory.
You can see here,
but
they're
it may be that
down
once
as a
you
solo
hit the
for
ring
right now.
console, you realize just
For Aftermath.
I mean, it's either this or we have to do a suicide evac.
Like Made in Heaven need to start putting their shit together if they're gonna have a decent group here. They got triple purple. They got a long rotate here. UAIM still stuck in this. Well, I shouldn't say stuck, but they're still chilling in the same spot over here. Does look like they're taking a couple of pop shots. But 2 purples and a blue. They can hear those footsteps above them.
Next to Mill. This fight has been lasting for quite some
20
time.
purple.
Fully getting whipped of this fight that's been happening in the last 2 games, making their way over.
they'll hear the shots on their way by. That Spore certain, but will they get here before after? Now with Staleezy already fallen. Really difficult to make that choice between.
Is he watching the broadcast?
Big move for Tax, giving Meat and having the chance to reset.
Trade off right here too with the Eva 8. That's all you need to get that down.
I'm so confused. Wouldn't that mean he's watching it on a delay?
Towards the next zone, fighting over by the gravity cannon near Echo HQ. Cold taking the opposite approach, exiting Pylon through the eastern side, and time is of the essence here. Time that they simply do not have. With another catalyst wall going up in front
nice
of them,
push
you
through.
have to move
Spray through the dark veil.
Or die, and at this point, it might be move forward and die.
That was with an evac just called in before their eyes too. Graceful is feasting as he takes control and takes care of life. They take the evac tower, thank you very much, and they're already going in for that rotation from that north squad.
Bad bang,
My lord, are they moving fast?
Yeah, they're going fine.
I'm don't
Careful, Ivory.
Dude, I don't understand.
Evil shield to stop the straggler from behind. The circle damage.
I want to listen to Alliance, but I cannot deal with like hearing a delayed broadcast behind him.
In 17.
That's talking about nothing that's on the screen.
Still trying to fight for their life.
Go next over here with Maiden Heaven.
Now here too. Actually,
Maiden Heaven's a solo. It looks like.
Also make their rotation into that fight that we just saw versus Latika Font to that corner. Go next now. Find Arctic and Tax.
Does look like Alliance has found their way over to Oregon. Orgless and Hungry.
Get eliminated here off of the rip. Catwalk coming up, but this at least gives Latika Font some time to reset before
Maiden Heaven goes out
versus ECG in front of them.
With LCDF being one of the last 2 squads remaining, it looks like we're running this back. Last time, it came down to a 1v1 between Psycop and Orgless and Hungry. This time, a 3v1 makes the odds a lot better. ESG go down. LCDF move up a single placement.
LCDF's in a decent spot right now. They've got themselves the triple reds. They've got a couple of KP that's kind of already got the momentum going for them here in game 3.
Well, at least from Kiner's case, he doesn't.
You got to find a way to rotate out of this,
though. They got that evac tower ready if they could go right through this other side, and he got some extra loot.
So Aurora should be pushing up here into Orgless and Hungry?
Все, забей, меня смотрит другой дом. Забей, забей.
Ты можешь тогда... А, все нормально.
Да, кушку, может, я подниму. Поднял.
Не, поднял, но он упал.
Ай, сучка.
Кракнул, да.
Я вот с этого ХГ еще поиграю.
Окей. У нас могут ЛГшку вот тут забрать. А это, подожди, это же прям надо...
They have no reason to overextend here, right? Because they're taking up a lot of space on this... What would this be? Southeastern part of the zone?
Не на нас, не на нас.
Норс. Почекайте, все равно может нам.
Они упали. Они в ЛГ упали. Далекая.
And they should know there's going to be more teams kind of more in on the northern side.
Ты понял, Костик, у тебя есть... Вот это ты кошмар.
I think they're just going to play this slow. I think I'm going to turn off them here for a minute.
DF going strong at Echo.
You blink it, you may miss it with the quickness. They followed up beautifully as Psych-Up, having to restabilize though across from them. You know, aimbot is looking down.
Bro, they are rolling right now.
One as he's healing up probably with the Phoenix there too. Alliance coming in shortly though, right over to the other side with so many other teams above, having to be careful. Go next, take this next fight with Bambino being on that conduit.
All you. I'm with you.
Let's go sit on board with Phoenix Legacy real quick, chat. They're in a fight.
Not anymore. It's in the zone. We're fine for by side. Wait, where did they go? They're still on me. All of them, help. They're getting shit on. They're fine. They're in the corner.
I'm bang-ulting them.
Oh, there's 2 teams there.
On the backside.
Is there another way to look around there?
Listen, kill them. Wall out here. I'm not with you yet. Coming. No, did you go? Go. I'm with you, Alpha. I'm picking out.
Good job to isolate this fight.
Hi on top. I'm going back.
Oh, Saps.
I cannot look for you right now.
No, I can't fucking move. They ulted me. You have to break the ult.
I cannot.
Either.
Shouldn't have sent that far, man.
So fucking shit. Just stopping me every time I want to peek.
They're fighting, Alpha.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, you can clean this.
Yeah, probably a little bit of an overextend there.
It's so tough.
I'm gonna pop back Alpha.
They traded. Come together.
Now they can move out here and try and pick up some KP. Plus, if they can finish up this fight, moves them into top 10. They've actually got some KP to go along with it as well.
Yeah, one is there said. I'm swapping. There's no swap. I'm swapping again, Alpha.
Leave anyone behind.
Nice. Res now.
Gets left behind in the Aurora team here as they manage to actually get away from that.
Bro, I can't with the sound in the background, Hawkes. You gotta help your boy out, man.
See, as a 2-person team have to move their way into further Echo HQ.
That's the wingman taking a headshot onto we saw from Psych-Up too. We also saw UAIM get deleted in the feed. They won't be able to get that extra placement point if they won this third game, but still, they have so many points regardless. We have to see how they do on World's Edge. That's Phoenix Legacy with only Alpha live. He's got the wingman in hand, looking try to see if he could try to approach from this low ground.
I think the big thing here for Alpha is just to try and buy as much time as possible. This is big. He swings around to the outside, like the 2 trailer park girls.
Unconned.
Probably shouldn't have shot there, and then he ends up getting found. That's tough.
But gets shot in the side, and it should be the end of Phoenix Legacy, this time at the hands of EXO. Aurora still control the outside of Echo HQ, while EXO Clan do use a catalyst wall to cut off some sight lines.
Bet you Alliance pulls it off here.
Look at them looking back here.
I can't, dog. I can't when you've got the fucking broadcast in the background, man.
Сверху
It makes
двойка.
my head hurt.
Последующий скан.
80 дал.
Есть 75 цифры, посмотрите, там типы близко.
Да. Слышишь? Верхние. Мы мейн-таргет у верхних. Костик, смотри аккуратно с ними.
Аккуратно, тебе могут...
Смотрите мне вверх.
Ну я
Очень правда,
постараюсь,
кликай.
тут с разных сторон могут...
На мне тут никто не забирает. Я держу этот спейс. Чуваки будут держать...
Aurora's got a hell of a rotate in front of him, man.
Да.
I don't know if I want to stay here. No, I think I'm going back over to the main broadcast.
Clearing kills. The ring takes one. This should be a squad finish. One gravity lift from Unlucky could very well mean the end of this, but only one frag left means that Unlucky doesn't want to commit it just yet. Instead, staying on height with the rest of the team. We're not going to eliminate X.
Who's up the inside over
here? The ring
here?
is sure to do the job for us.
Man, look at Unlucky's
The
weapon
spot that
loadout.
Vamo
He is
Carrera played
lacking
for the
and
win,
is on the
or for the second
sticks when
place.
it comes to
202's
some
up
of this
there.
ammo. We lacking on energy and on heavy for what I saw on the other side there. EXO by...
I want to sit on board with Alliance, man.
I don't think we did not.
Fuck me, he's got the fucking broadcast.
In with LVH,
I keep forgetting
but
about
from
that.
the very beginning and with life and going
You'd
crazy
think I'd
on this
remember.
horizon.
Please don't tell me if you have DG.
Left log on.
Okay.
No, fighting hard.
So is that Alliance and 202 fighting there? 202 taken out. Alliance is going to be hurt. LVH is going to swing this team to their left, which should be Aurora? Oh, brother, that's a costly reload. You should have already had your shit reloaded up. Yeah, so that was Aurora that was up there.
Drop 20. 40. Drop it down.
No, they got to worry about their height.
Swapping.
Get. One here. Shoot this.
I'm looking right. Come back.
Oh, what a pickup here from Liffin. Hold on. Does LVH pull this off? LVH pulls this off because their other two are on the left. They've got this. Oh, maybe not.
14 on the left.
Nice. Able to at least fight for second here with Liffin. Kind of fucked himself a little bit there with the black hole. Oh. Oh. It is Aurora that ends up coming out with a dub. That's big for Aurora.
Aurora coming in full.
It's Aurora. I think I'm just going to watch the main broadcast chat. I think the multi-view is part of what's giving us issues right now. PC's just not keeping up.
In terms of placement, the difference is massive, and that was all what Leifin was able to do.
And that's what the confidence that he felt too. You saw it the moment he went for that shield swap after taking control over that.
Right, though, it makes our job easier. I don't have to go running around figuring out where the next fight is.
Clean up a conduit right in front of him after he heard the comps. Let's slow it down a little bit, but he was pedal to the metal there in that moment. He was in it. The momentum was in their favor, and they had a pretty good last game on Storm Point. Aurora, though, coming in after we saw them with
coming in hot,
I believe, by the choke to the south side, making their way into that next circle, pre-planning ahead of time.
And I was very happy to see Aurora succeeding. In fact, let's take a look back at how it happened, because this was a game that we actually got a decent chance at looking at these teams, seeing them succeed and set up their playstyles way ahead of time. If we think about it, having teams like LVH that took early fights in Echo HQ that we were there for, and then jumping on over to teams like Aurora that were playing out the south side of the ring, and ultimately
the dirty rat play,
as we had called for them to do at the start of the day. Both these teams did so well. VQ did start pretty decently, but were ultimately unable to make it in the same unpunished way that they had in previous zones, because LVH let nothing go. They were pouncing on every single team, and this was it. This was them pouncing on VQ just to make sure that this did not happen again.
They made sure they didn't come into their territory and allowed them to have that space for the rest of it.
The horizon and the way that it could affect their playstyle and trying to secure that KP. Yes, they're also running the conduit, but that's just basically basically the double whammy for them and the trade-off if they don't want to have any sort of vision control in general. But this is also a game that Aurora desperately needed. I think before that game, they were in 16th in the overall standings for this lobby, so taking that dub was absolutely huge. And we were talking about the Titans here. The Citer Fonts, after that rotation, was also able to be a gauntlet for the teams that have been waiting in Echo.
They are, again, like night and fog. And ultimately, while they do go down, LCDF changed this game, not just for themselves in the tournament, but for so many other teams like Phoenix Legacy, who ultimately, the damage that they did was able to basically eliminate. EXO did the remainder of that, while we saw them suffering in a corner for a little bit too long.
They were
All right, so we've got updated scores, it looks like here.
You can see JMW playing off that low ground, but it was so chaotic for a lot of the teams.
Let's go ahead and throw those in YouTube and Twitch.
Circle, I love that we were able to listen to the comms from LVH.
Remember, we're chat, we're halfway there.
Talking about the plan, what they wanted to do, life and moving in.
We're going World's Edge here for our last three.
Healthy, we're able to restabilize after that previous fight, able to take out a member from LVH and force a 3v2.
Living with some god-tier bamboozles, even without Mirage, just using the gravity lift almost as a distraction, and Aurora taking the win is very well deserved. We talked about their control of space. They never even touched Echo HQ, simply moving in from the south side. 6 kills for them, does put them in first, but not in terms of points. That is all LVH today.
Yeah, you can see here, LVH 10 KP is huge. When I believe they were, what, like 3rd in the overall standings before that game? So they are keeping themselves hefty in the overall standings, as Aurora, again, like I mentioned, desperately needed that. Looking all the way down, though, we saw what's going on with the Alliance. They still were able to get 7 KP to their name. Maybe not the placement points that they wanted, but the same could be said about Le Citer Fonts with the 10 KP that they're able to get on their rotate.
And I love
so
that we
Baltimore
actually
kicks off here in 30
back.
minutes, huh?
Almost zone for zone, the exact same rotation, and this time
I definitely need to pull that up on a second monitor once we get done.
3v, in this case 1, then make the rotation out of pylon. It is so clear that they have a plan for these things and are ultimately trying to capitalize on the
But chat,
chaos
we are
that's
going to be
created inside of pylon, inside of suboptimal rotations by teams that perhaps don't have the escape plan that LCDF have. It was really impressive.
Not live,
If you
Brandon.
want to take a look at our
I think I said that earlier,
20th
but
places, unfortunately,
in
UA
case I
do
didn't.
find themselves here, but I'm only giving them so much pity since they did win 2 games in a row.
Exactly, yeah. All eyes were on them to see if they were going to be able to get the 3P. Nope, that's going to be shut down. They were trying to play a little too safe. That's why you see no KP. I did see that they were waiting by the next edge of where the circle was going to be pooling for a bit too long. But then following up, Go Next, that was a team that wasn't playing patiently. We saw at the very end that they were trying to take those fights, trying to get into a better position within Echo HQ, which once again is so crazy. We saw that circle pull down there twice, but a team that didn't do as well as they did in the first 2 games, all the way in the bottom, is going to be Vamos Querer. Unfortunately, falling down on that last map of Storm Point. We have to see if they can carry some of that success in the first 2 games into World's Edge.
It's funny because since they're running the Valkyrie, they do have the advantage of always having an evac tower, but simultaneously, I think a lot of teams have caught up to that and gone, well, I mean, that's a Valkyrie. We've all played against this. We played against it for almost a year. We shoot at Valkyrie, and she dies in the sky.
What year is it right now? Yeah, the Valkyrie coming in. It's going to be interesting if they change things up into World's Edge. But before we dive into that, Dia, I want to bring in my friend Rain Day once again. I want to hear his thoughts at the end of game number 3.
I'm back. You know, I've been waiting. I've been listening. I could have done that the entire time. I see why the viewers like tuning in. But I wanted to actually add about UAIM. I mean, what an interesting kind of duo that's split and been successful in their own way. Sonya staying and showing the grace and the confidence to be able to navigate these final circles so well, putting UAIM in a great spot. Rugby, who was kind of the former duo, now coaching Aurora. And so I think what ends up happening is you see clearly 2 great players in their own right having an impact for 2 teams that are now currently performing. But in terms of giving you the landscape of the EMEA roster swaps, the state of affairs, I think we should bring somebody who's an expert in that region. Maybe he's even played and is playing in that region for a halftime breakdown. Let's go ahead and send it over and get Mandy in the house. We got Mandy from 40% worse and just from, you know, EMEA legacy. Mandy, what's up, man? How you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Just chilling, watching the games, you know.
All the fans watching, they're pretty excited to hear from you and get your thoughts. I want to.
We have, and of course, we're like So yeah, I gotta learn that too. And we're just a brand new team playing against people that played like with each other for months or even years, you know. So we got a lot to catch up to, and hopefully we can show off next week.
That'll be alright.
What we've been working on. So yeah, I'm excited for that.
I'm really happy to hear how positive your interaction has been, even after the performance of the last time you guys had played together. I mean, when you guys sat down together and you saw that it was just unorganized, have you guys been able to at least iron out the stuff that you
not from your ALGS work, from your, again, incredible play over the past couple of days, but also from your content creation. And I want to know, getting back into competitive play, especially this year as you were inspired towards the end of last, how has that been for your schedule, for your workflow, when balancing both improving in the ALGS and also still navigating a career as a content creator?
It's been fine. I don't really see like a difference because I still play the game a lot. So that's just the way I'm trying to keep it.
I mean, to be fair, I guess
transpired, and I want to start with you walking us through some of the highlights of the final zones of each of these games, Mandy. Starting with game 1.
Chad, if it keeps giving me
We've seen
dropout
this
issues,
in
man,
game
I'm just
2
gonna
as
fucking
well,
watch
but
the last
walk me
half
through
offline.
Kind of this idea of
I have kind of
career,
just
you
about
aim
hit
in
wits end
these
with it at
fights.
this
what
point.
What did you see happening here?
It was a kind of weird situation because I think Kashir's team normally play against people like with like more people in the zone. We only see 2 people in the last zone, and it's kind of unorthodox to see that. It's kind of like it's out of the norm, so you have to play it differently, maybe like a scrim game. And but yeah, I just see Kashir and the guys just not being aggressive enough, and Max Drift and Sanya taking advantage of that and taking a bunch of angles on them, and therefore just winning the fight in the end, you know, because they can't do anything. They're pushed into a small hole and they're just playing their angles super good.
Part of the angles too is, and this kind of conversation, Mandy, is just, is there anything in terms of a lineup that stood out to you? The fact that, you know, there was just more of a defensive Watson play, did that kind of hurt Vamo Carrera in this position? And in game 2 we kind of saw a similar thing where second place, but because they had to hold the zone with the Watson, they didn't push out, they weren't the aggressors.
Yeah, I think what some teams need to maybe be a little bit more aggressive sometimes. I feel like that could really like benefit a lot of Watson players.
I mean, we kind of saw Black Kid do that very well during champs, right?
Them, and they played that super well, even though they had
like using the Watson more aggressively.
Blue, white, and a purple armor, and that's not super
not using the
late
Watson
game, but
aggressively, but playing aggressively as
so
the Watson, like hunkering down when you need
there's
to,
not that
but
much else you can do. But the first team, I would have liked to see them be a little bit more aggressive and play around that Watson ult and like heal off that while they take fights, you know.
And this is a great point. I mean, is there something as an IGL, we just talked about this, Vamo Carrera been sitting there the entire time, UAIM ends up taking this fight, but is there something, when you look at this from your perspective, something you would have done differently if you were Vamo Carrera to take this win? Is it just aggressiveness, or is there something else?
Yeah, late game I would 100% push out and take the fight, because there you're just basically just playing for second place, and as soon as you hear the other team is fighting, there's no point in not pushing out.
I think they were waiting for a knock.
Gonna finish up fast, and then you have a chance to actually win
on
the game.
UAIM.
They basically just played for second place and didn't want to do anything else. It's good because then you secure points 100%, but you also like gotta get those extra maybe 3 points, if not even 6 points if you get all the 6 kills, you know.
Yeah, it's a great perspective from obviously an IGL. You know, LVH too. Your quick thoughts on them? They took second place here. They had a heck of a game. Vipes, you both have had stints with Alliance. Vipes, before you were subbing with them at LAN and stood up on that table, which everyone remembers that moment. How you feeling about LVH so far? Because they had a lot to prove this season.
Yeah, LVS is looking really good, and I'm really happy for the boys. Vibes used to be, you know, top competitor in EU. We used to play against him a lot. And I always like
see, but because
really
of these
happy
top
about,
3
like
teams,
how good
man,
he was on Lions, and when he
they're
stepped
taking,
down,
especially these top 2.
It was sad, but it's good to see
decent
him
amount
back
of points.
again, and I can
There's
feel
a little bit of a
like
fall off here.
You know,
and remember, Aurora just won that game too.
Like a lot of energy and passion again. Yeah.
So, you know, you're a viewer today, which is awesome. Most of the time you're playing, but I know as a player, your eyes go maybe different ways than just people who only watch go. As a player, who are you looking at that's kind of catching your attention? What team in this 20 is either maybe not performing or performing really well? You know, what story has caught your eye, Mandy?
UAIM really just playing out of their mind right now. Two back-to-back wins. That's amazing to see. It's really hard to pull off just a normal win, and then getting 2 back-to-back is really, really cool to see. And they're playing it really, really well, also with a bunch of kills and stuff. So yeah.
One of the interesting things that I was noticing about our top squads and discussion, especially in some of the competitive Apex circles recently, is Horizon. LVH isn't running it, UAIM isn't running it, VQ isn't running it. And Horizon's been such a staple for so long. What do you make of Horizon's place in the meta right now? Where does she fit? Because she's clearly strong. How can you run without her?
We're actually gonna swap Horizon out too. We're gonna play Gibby instead of Horizon now for next week.
What?
A little leak there. Yeah, I'm just not really a Horizon player, just because the character is more made for people that are very aggressive and for the most part controller players. And I don't really play like that, and that's not really my play style. And I feel like I fit more into different kind of characters. And ultimately, I feel like it's worth to play a character that you feel confident on, because you will play way better on a character you feel confident on than a character that you don't feel confident on. And so that's why I do the switch, and maybe the other people do the switch because of that too.
You know, I would love to say that I called this, but the tier list that I recorded that mentioned this had no audio on it, so no one will ever know. But I do think that Gibby is primed to retake some real estate here, because there's no shielding and there's no defense, and that defensive bombardment with a bunch of other Gibbies as well, dangerous. But with no Gibbies, you know, it's deadly. It's truly something that there's no room to defend against. You have, especially the way people are playing Bangalore Smokes outside. Really cool to hear your thoughts on that. We'll see if that comes to play. Thank you for giving an insight into the pros mind and obviously what's been going on today, Mandy. And good luck with the rest of the split.
Yeah, I hope you guys have an amazing day. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, buddy.
Too.
And, you know, always fun to talk with them. Dia, I love the question you were bringing up as well, kind of getting them into the meta chat. That's going to give us good fodder as we head into these next games. But take a break, my friend. You've been doing some great casting. Me and Vicky are going to hold on to the fort here and get into game 4 as we transition over to the new
Dang,
set of
no
maps
break even, huh?
to
Going
kick us
right
off
on
the
in?
back half
Let's
of
get it.
the day. And
Go
Vicky, I
without
guess
my,
since we didn't
play real
have
quick
too many
chat.
of those later questions for you, let's talk about it. What did you pick up off of what Mandy just spoke to us about?
I blinked twice and I heard Gibby, and I had to just reassure. Okay, he said Gibby, but you talk about shields, and I like how you brought that up at the end. If I could talk to Mandy longer, you know we would, absolutely, but the show must go on. And, you know, the Gibby choice is interesting. If you take a look at APAC, there was some, interesting is definitely bold. I saw Revenant at the end of our NA show yesterday.
Okay.
It was very interesting. We saw Revenant, we saw Newcastle playing aggressively. So I think with these different compositions presenting themselves to us that aren't the typical Conduit, Catalyst, and then Bangalore, or then you sub the Conduit for Horizon, vice versa, or even the Bloodhound now being a staple against the Bangalores, it's gonna make the rest of Pro League very interesting, because we're seeing more diversity, at least for teams playing into their strengths, which is something that teams sometimes wait way too long for when you're already at the tail end of Pro League, when you should have been playing what you were comfortable for rather than just whatever the meta is presented to you.
Especially if you are someone who believes in it through why you're trying to play, and also when things aren't working the way the rest of the lobby is playing. 40% worse can only get 100% better when they're looking at a 20th position, right, in terms of their last performance. So I think Mandy's like, hey, this is it. Let's make some changes and let's utilize our time to get experience, because we may not have as much of it as some of the other teams who are spending 8, 12, 16 hours playing, VOD reviewing, things like that. So I love hearing that information. On World's Edge, will we see some changes? We've seen a lot of teams shift up compositions throughout the day, Vicky. Could just be talk in theory, but we may see it come to fruition here as we head over to our most famous and staple maps of Apex Legends Esports to end our day, World's Edge.
Back at home, back to the comfort zone where some of these teams perform better versus Stormpoint. We highlighted that actually with the likes of UAIM and Vamos Querer, but we're gonna have to see how this fares up against the squads that were able to perform on those few games on Stormpoint, now onto World's Edge. I'm also excited, Rain Day, for the potential 50-50s that we may see going into our first game on World's Edge. Let's get started. Let's not waste any more time. We are coming off the dropship.
Challenge game 4 go.
Always exciting when the potential is limitless. And we are seeing it right here. Anything can happen. And if you go based off of our first 3 games, it's been a solid performance. Playing out of their mind is what Mandy said, to quote him, is YoAIM, a team that is certainly not struggling with that. But can they keep it up? That's the question. Or will teams like Alliance, who seem to be landing in a pretty similar spot with them off the southwestern side, YoAIM leaning towards staging, Alliance and Thermal Station, their traditional landing zone that they have held for at least over a year now. And Made in Heaven here in Fragment East near Monument. Going to grab some loot and split this one. A very difficult spot to fight through if you're used to your
So Made in Heaven is contesting
many people
with
land and live to tell about it, but
Aftermath
they're not
over
worried.
here.
They've had
Huh?
a 50-50 every single time that they've
Oh, right.
landed,
We're not
and
doing
this time
multi-view
the
anymore because I was
contest seems to
fucking
be a little
around.
bit more cordial.
They gotta.
We only have one view.
Duking it out with Made in Heaven.
That's the
off
main
the
one.
Rip. This is like the 4th time now we see
Everything
this
else is
50-50
stressing
even
the
happening
PC.
on World's Edge after we made that change. But I don't.
What they can see if there's anything to poach off of Fragment, and potentially where the zone will be, because this seems to be now where rotations are happening from 202. You can hear either evacs going down early, and look at this. Yes, Phoenix Legacy have already set up their home base as well. It's not one that you want to go into as an intruder, but Sabs loaded up with the 30-30 in the car, going to be able to get some damage, level those Evo shields, and definitely hold off what will be 202. And Squad looking maybe to fight here on the other side of the map.
Ooh, I like this spot that Matafe's on, though. Kind of separated away.
Here, 202
Like
playing from inside
optimum
this
height.
building here, while Orgless and Hungry fighting for their lives, sending out these arc stars, blowing open doors. 202 lose out on a member, while Orgless and Hungry, they have the advantage, cleaning up
Damn.
that fight just as quick as it started.
Too
and
easy.
They needed this here too. Orgless, I believe, running into some trouble themselves with some tech, so now being able to clean up that fight can start off some momentum for them.
Massive for them. They just need it. This is a team that's dealt with a lot of blows, losing their org the first 2 days right before this split kicked off. Now fighting not just for representation yet again, but a place, especially at LAN. You can assume that if they do that, they will find some representation, and that is obviously going to be a ton of motivation, but trying to figure it out and have solutions for the problems that have plagued them, which is performing in those moments and also trying to play zone and also be a good team fighting team. They've been so good at team fighting. Zone is where they have struggled at times, and I think World's Edge is a great time for them to show that example of playing it, still thriving in those 3v3s, but also getting to top 10s, top 5s. I think they've done a pretty good job of that today, placing 2nd place, 3rd place, I believe, in our last game as well on Stormpoint.
Huge to see what they could do here for game number 4, as EXO have already been inside this building. I know Phoenix Legacy is looking at them from the other side by the choke closer to Geyser. I'll stay healthy, sent out the smoke to then reposition themselves underneath this building. If that building right next to them is unoccupied, which it looks like at the moment it is, they could definitely take advantage of that positioning with the catwalk coming up. They are dancing the Chata slide to get right back in to reset, but they do manage to get away from trouble. But it did cost the catwall, but it was well worth for them to claim this building.
And honestly, just Radiant transfer. Masuka would have gotten down there. I feel like
EXO
that's
is
just
struggling
losing
here
Masuko.
once
And
again
maybe
with their
they have a mobile
loot,
respawn,
man.
but it just
Granted,
complicates things. The benefits of Catalyst, excuse me.
nobody around them
conduit
really has
and
much
a
better,
Radiant transfer means
right?
she
I
gets
mean,
the shield,
SH has 2
67.5
whites and a blue.
shield per second over the course
double
of a few
white
seconds
tee.
over time, but it also applies
Yup,
to
and
her,
my white
not
tee.
just her teammates. So another showcase of why this legend has taken the meta by storm and been a huge impact of determining play. I almost just, you know, as we see these teams sit down, Vicky, and kind of set up for future zones, my eyes, you know, my mind goes back to that Gibby conversation, whereas kind of expanding on that thought process, because we see Horizon, Bangalore, and Catalyst, you see a ton of space control, right? From height, from smokes, from walls, but there's no shielding at all. I mean, grenades, they're going to do really well if you've got them. And when you look at a character like Gibby that not only brings an ultimate that will destroy your game plan if you allow it to hit, and there's no way for these legends to avoid being hit by it except maybe going up, some mobility. You look at an in-game that provides a ton of defense, makes players play into your strengths with that shield again. I mean, I'm kind of with Mandy where I think if there is a legend and it's not that, I could see Gibby coming in and filling a nice role for a few teams. The way we often see Watsons and Cryptos do it for a few teams to kind of still be effective and really have a dangerous
I don't know, man. I don't see
top
Gibby
five.
in the current meta.
Yeah, it's
I
the
really
strengths
don't.
that we were talking about that I believe make the most sense. You also have to consider the weapon meta and where it's at. And Gibby having that arm shield, you know you always want to put a sniper in your Gibby's hand right there. And putting the 30-30 in Gibby's hand will also allow you to get at least the upper hand advantage on certain trades, especially looking at what evil shields that you're rocking. So even theory crafting beyond end circle there, you have to think about those individual pieces that could definitely benefit them depending on what is their comfort zone and how the other teams react to it. Because teams like Phoenix Legacy running that crypto, that EMP gonna tear down that dome real quick.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's a lot of pocket picks that can come in. We're in a nice position. You know, recently, even going back into it, we saw so much of this being dominated by Valkyries beforehand, and then of course Skyward Dive changes and nerfs, evac towers introduced. That's given players different rotation options, and it's opened up the meta. We saw Seer be really like a dominant force. I mean, if there was a Gibby, Seer being able to cancel reses, cancel heals, really make that bubble useless and be able to push through it, that sends him away. But now that Seer's kind of gone into obscurity, still, you know, decent in your casual games, you can still certainly play and ranked up to a certain point. This is really a chance where you see a meta a little bit more wide open for some of these pocket picks that were gone because they were hard countered, now to maybe come back in if a team believes in them. Vex sticking to a very simple Catalyst, Horizon, Bangalore, and right now, all they need to do is hit their shots. Goes up into the air. Black hole thrown down in a thermite to try to pull him back. That should get at least something, but Vex loses
nobody.
plenty. In the meantime, Babylon's gonna have to go hard and try to close this
Come
one
on,
up.
you
But it's
aim.
You aim. The leaders of the lobby who are on the case. Triple take shot hits, but it doesn't
That was
work.
a
Sonya
big
having to hit a shield battery, and
hit, though. I
because
mean, it took
they
all
had
his
the
shield.
light
He was down to
earlier, it
flesh.
means he can come in and play the hero. But Vicky,
Oh, Sonya.
it's now totally up to Sonya to do it.
Oh,
and it
third
just may
party's
not be
rolling in
enough.
too.
It's the third party coming in, lasting a little bit too long there. Waiting took a little bit too long for them too, and has allowed the Cita Fonts to be invited to the party. As they back away here to look at the other squad who's matching them on the other side, it was Alliance. What a sandwich to be in. Look at the graveyard before their eyes, and Alliance taking some shots right over to La Cita Fonts allows Alliance to have control over all this loot.
Now, Alliance has been doing this the entire time. It's finally worked out on World's Edge. There's no doubt in my mind Alliance is extremely comfortable on World's Edge. I think this is the map that, for me, was the biggest surprise in last week, where they had 2 top 5 finishes, were looking like a team to beat, as we expected. And then their last game in Stormpoint and their final 3 in World's Edge, they barely cracked the top 15. So this is much more of the Alliance that I feel we should expect to see, which is a good Stormpoint team, or an even better World's Edge team. And so Hockey's Yuki.
Yeah, I mean, it's right by a
And
few
of course,
POIs, and
off to a pretty good start here, as
especially
we transition
with
back towards
teams
a
starting to
little bit south
rotate
of
up
where that
towards
was fighting into Vamo Carrera.
Monument
Aftermath,
area.
Made in Heaven go next in the western side of Fragment.
Teams are going to start collecting up there.
Lions had a pretty good game last game at the very least. I believe they found themselves in the top 5, top 6 here, so they can ride on that momentum of Vamakurin, another one of our squads, with Kashera making the swap over to the Crypto for World's Edge this time around. It's getting enough information to see where everybody is right now in Fragment. Taking an overhead look. Kings being over to the other side, but they are not moving anywhere from here. This is like the old school said back in the day. As Kashera likes to lead the squad the same way.
You can always have fun with those Watson fences there. I love the pro setups. You see the Vs. It's a little bit of like a study in Apex architecture. And Sin certainly has passed. Kashira on the Crypto. So we talked about Crypto coming in as pocket picks. Not just that, with the Watson as well. This is just classic Kashira. And whether it's a Sin, whether it's Vamo Carrera, you could tell just the fingerprint.
I kind of miss having my
of
other
this leader
POVs, man.
showing up anyway and with any squad. Lasita France, Psycop, Zidane, and you can see a little bit of Phoenix Legacy here peering out. Kiner, I believe. Trying to just, you know, this is an interesting spot. It's a very hard spot to hold. Excuse me, Kiner on Lasita France. But they're trying to push in. Grenades are definitely going to open it up, and ultimately having that ultimate in just a few seconds, Vicky, so that could help.
And knowing that the circle will be closing in a minute and less than 20 seconds, they could try to take this fight quickly while the other squads waiting in Fragment want to prioritize their rotation. So while they do want to try to take this fight, Alliance don't have to worry about any squad trying to counter-rotate behind them. Instead, trying to make their next plan, unless Go
Alliance
next
in
to the
trouble.
fragment may want to get involved on
Leciter
this.
France
but
got the
late
first
rotate,
knock.
leaving their backs open, so Leciter France do need to hurry up here.
Push it
Maxed
real
out Volt,
good.
Except for the extended
Then
mag,
Go next, gonna be
second
rotating
level,
in.
And a Rampage. Pushing ahead, a weapon that probably is not going to be used very often, but when it is used and used correctly, it's going to be devastating.
So now with those 30-30 shots ringing through the air, Rain Day, they're able to take some of those shots, get some extra loot for a shield swap, but the catwalk blocks her view while they get third-partied.
Almost too much loot, right, to deal with. So many swaps, so many options. Do you shield that? Do you swap as well? Sometimes thinking about it, it's just not the right choice. You got to do something and commit to it. Zidane from LCDF being pushed from behind. Go next, eliminated in that one. They will have swaps now off of it. ESG trying to get involved. The Bloodhound ultimate's going to give the information. It's light blast. And it's not going to be a light blast there. It's going to be full wingman shots, 95 to the dome. Lufka going to end it easily. And now Alliance still holding. And they're going to have to evac tower to get over this chaos. They've got to get away. Hockey's by himself. Effect Beacon picked up, and Yuki, they should be able to make it. But that wingman, it's scary because just a headshot and a body means Alliance Hockey's is down and out.
We had 5 parties come to that fight. ESG, Go
Ain't no
next.
party like a
The
third party,
original
baby, because a third party don't
stragglers,
stop.
the Fonts Alliance goes insane now. ESG, one of our teams, rocking that blood on. We got to see a great performance from them in that last.
Look at this guy, he's
especially
cheating.
from
He can
here.
see everybody
Not
through the
Horizon
walls.
Now, instead, being on that Bloodhound, seeing how they try to play around this cat wall, but playing patiently while they are in that next circle.
ESG absolutely looking to push the envelope on Alliance and running into Vamo Carrere. It's been a theme. If you look at the way their rotations have kind of pulled, Vamo Carrere, because they're always in zone, they're a little bit ahead.
How are
of
they
the
letting
Alliance.
these
The first
cheaters
game, it
play
ended
in
up
Pro
being the
League?
team to push right behind them and take that third party. They're in the exact same position. Even if ESG or Alliance win this battle, Vamo Carrere very close to it. No days off as well. Still holding on.
So
Geyser,
that kid
Phoenix
that's on the
Legacy and Kohler there.
Bangalore here, that
GMW,
Plexus kid, that was the kid who was going to get
opposite side.
booted
You
from
can
his
see
squad, and
nobody's
they
off
instead
taking a look at it. Phoenix Legacy to the
3-1
left above
reverse
them.
voted the
It's going to be
captain off
very,
that we
very
talked about
difficult
in
if
the
they fight
On
each
Cue
other. 1
Esports
minute left, though.
podcast.
They have enough time to kind of try to see if they can get an opening, anything, Vicky, before they make that move, because they know it's going to be difficult.
Especially with Phoenix Legacy that have not moved from up on top of the hilltop here for that next choke. It's going to be so difficult even if they do come on top of this fight. Bardo being the only one healthy for his own team gets knocked. It's only 3 tricks.
Yeah.
With literally 1 shot. And guess what? It is the green light for Phoenix Legacy to move in and clean up on aisle 3. It's everybody that may fall to the hands of Phoenix Legacy who are up and alive.
Cold out
giving
as
away
well.
some of that extra space on the high ground. Let's tune into a Phoenix Legacy listening to see their next move.
Let's do it.
I'm going. They're fighting the
They're getting pushed by Ogres and Hungry.
Yeah, they are.
I told might be gatekeeping us.
Nobody should gate close.
I have Acceleran.
Damn.
I'm just gonna take a bit because I need
They
to
just
fucking-
wiped them
We should be good
easy.
on- We should be good on some rocks here.
I don't know if you need me.
All right, come on.
We need your zone, guys. 2 seconds. This is barely in alpha, I think.
We can fight the left team and play rocks.
Well, I
now.
think we're gonna might need to look for the left. I have bats someone needs.
I'm good.
Yeah, they have that Ulti?
Yeah.
Here. So we might have to just fight the
They're sliding down.
Yeah.
They're not looking at all at us.
25 to fucking
We're like
Below
in
there's
around
the
here.
fight, too.
We're in around here as well. We're like chilling.
Good shit though, no?
Over here, if we clear left, we're good.
From the right side, we're gonna get shot now.
Alliance out in 12th, so another
I'm moving here.
relatively
We're
early
looking
out
left
for
or
them.
Yeah, I'm
I
looking
have
left.
crypto and I don't have EMP.
I'm
Yeah,
moving
we
to
need to try and
time.
force this. We need to try and force this.
There's 2 teams there.
Okay.
Oh,
They're fighting, they're fighting. We can go look at that.
Go late. Just go late, go late.
Yeah,
We're gonna-
Wait.
Just walk up.
I'm chilling.
Waiting for Bangle.
knocks.
Where's
We're
the
good
fun?
here, we're good here. Just wait.
Do they have knocks?
No clue.
Sure.
They're on the backside. That's another team, might be. We can play this side if anything.
Yeah,
Still no knocks, still no knocks. Watch out, there's a guy over here. I'm coming to you now.
Come to me.
They're playing
I'm coming. There's a guy right here. Fighting over here. The guy got named. He's one.
Come to me, subs.
I'm popping
Knocked
south.
one.
South.
Knocked two.
I'm popping south. Nice.
Ooh.
Okay. I'm coming to you.
It's just one guy on the left side.
The guy.
Oh!
Okay.
He's right here.
I'm coming to
looking at
time.
He's right
I'm
here.
going
Right
to
here.
time.
She's got to worry about
There's
overextending.
two people over
That
here.
got her in trouble before.
He's running. He's the solo.
Look at this guy.
I know.
Look at this guy.
Yeah, moving up.
Not see him. Yeah, see.
I feel like
He's running. He's cracked. He's cracked. Yeah, I'm coming. Come back. They gotta fight us.
Don't overextend, Kiri.
I cannot see her. I'm going back to you, Alpha.
So Aurora's going to end up knocking out ESG. They'll pick up the last KP there.
We're good. We're
I'm here.
killing her.
I'm popping syringe. I don't.
Where are they? No.
Here.
Who's walking up? Is there anything safe?
I didn't check. I'm watching the back.
But this is tough now because Phoenix Legacy's going to have to move in here. They're going to have to worry about Aurora down up to their north.
Position to see Phoenix Legacy take over. Like
Aurora's going to have to move from their spot though a little bit.
And just keep inching forward with territory. That crypto EMP, they've got hold from range. Even in these awkward positions with the Watson interception pylon, buy them a little bit of time, safety from some of the grenades, and they're pushing through this catalyst wall. I think they realize it's just about timing here. They've been so good at playing the moment, and that's what Phoenix Legacy are doing, rising from the ashes with the 30 hit fire as well. Sabs, she's going crazy. Can she clean it up?
Aurora's going to clean up this fight, though. Aurora, oh my God, what a nade.
If you thought that they weren't going to get involved, well, you just don't know. Aurora,
though Phoenix Legacy with the second place finish, though. Let's go.
It's time to sleep as they get another win.
And that's a big for another finish for Aurora, back to back.
Grim Reaper coming in with a perfect timing, Rain Day taking that dub. And what was also interesting is that Phoenix Legacy's comms, they were highlighting their left side. They saw a bunch of teams fighting on that left side, but they still were talking about how that was an entry point that other squads could take advantage if they wanted to rotate to the right. They saw the opportunity, though, that way they could get even more KP. And it's similar to what Mandy said. You're trading off either you're fighting for seconds to get that extra kills, or you're fighting for the dub for those extra 3 points for positioning that you could get in terms of placement. They wanted to fight for the kills, and Aurora came in and swept in and took them out and took the dub.
And I think there's some strength to that, but so much of it, when you think about how the math is going in that, it's instinct. You can't do all that math in the exact time. When you see an opening and you just push, some teammates already going in, you're kind of committed to it. And that's what was so great about it. They played that same way. They waited patiently, but when they saw an opportunity, they went for it. Let's take a look at how this game transpired, though. Storm Point was fun. World's Edge, though, that did not disappoint. New map, new game. The pace just kept at a premium.
Actually crazy with Vex. Also, we saw the chaos, the pileup in this choke point. It wasn't a fourth party. It wasn't just a fifth party. It looked like a sixth party with all the teams.
Everyone was over here at some point.
Up to the play over by this choke. UAIM, Leciter Fonts, Alliance, Go Next. So many teams moving away from Fragment as well as that south side of World's Edge, getting involved in this fight to try to take control over that left side of that final circle. Still wasn't even safe with the teams that were holding the choke by the north side of the map.
I mean, that was really the transition between the north and the south side of the map. That choke right there, that basically determined whether 6 or 7 teams were going to be involved in this end zone. And this
so
one
now
too,
with
no
that
days off,
Alliance,
and you looked at Cold, they were in this kind of
actually, let's go ahead and update scoreboards.
They thought, but because they were downhill, it was just
drops
a
down to
of
10.
A fast EMP from Crypto and Alpha Draft to allow Sabs and Kyrie to move forward and find some kills there. But this was, I think,
Aurora is going to be in third, one game behind LVH. Here's updated scoreboards on both YouTube and Twitch.
And they're able to battle.
Remember, chat, if you come in, we're ever watching competitive Apex,
and being able to finish those kills too, getting extra
a tournament that is updating scores on Liquipedia. So like, you know, ALGS. You come in, use exclamation point now, you'll get an up-to-date scoreboard.
2 knockdowns at the same time. It just took way too long and had allowed Aurora to come in before any sort of reset was possible, allowing Aurora to take the dub. Had a pretty good game last game, and now they are coming out on top.
Hey, you know what though? 7 kills with the 9 placement points, a 16-point game for Phoenix Legacy.
From a team that has put together 2 top performers last season, 1 all-time top performer.
Would love to see Phoenix Legacy be able to take home a dub though.
Overall, this team's averaging 7.5 kills per game, which is nuts. And they're also doing it kind of cool. 9 impulse, giving a lot of damage, and also 2 assists. Hardeki a kill, but 5 assists, 1,200 damage there. Let's not forget Phoenix Legacy, Alpha Draft on the Crypto, 3 assists. Kyrie showing up with the kills. Zabs, kind of an all-around game there with damage, kills, and assists, and Infinite, Aimbot, Thon, Kizaron. really, really contributing on all different layers and levels as a squad. These three.
2 more games,
Really,
last
something
2
to
on
look at.
World's Edge.
Especially
And we
Vicky,
got a
when you take
relatively
a look
close
at
lobby right
Phoenix
now.
Legacy,
I mean,
who have had kind of an okay
ish,
start
right?
to
Like
the day,
obviously,
but that's a real
UAM's
great
still 9
showcase, and
points
it's gonna put
ahead.
them in a position to not
We
only
have seen
top
them
10,
kind of
but maybe
fall
even
off
if
off
they
the
keep
back
this up,
after the
top
back-to-back
5
dubs with 23
throughout the
KP in those
Yeah,
2 games. So
ranking up basically because after the performance yesterday, they did get in the top 10. They got second place twice throughout the day and are looking to continue on that legacy going into today's games with Aurora taking the back-to-back. I believe they also won on Stormpoint for Game 3 with 6 KP. So I'm interested to see what that's going to basically do to this overall standings for this lobby, because Aurora definitely needed it before that Game 3, and now they're looking to stay on top.
Well, one of the things we'll bring you up to attention for is, remember, there is a bonus point awarded for having a 15-point margin on the next team while being in first place. That's the key part. They must be in first place at the end of the series. So far, with 2 wins
50
for
or
UAM,
15?
2 wins for Aurora, there's definitely going to be one team at the top. Will they separate themselves enough from each other, or will it just be a battle of first? We'll find out. UAM, surprisingly, after such a big start, winning the first 2 games in Stormpoint, not a great start here for World's Edge. Series results overall, it's UAM, LVH, and Aurora. And so far, EMEA has done what we expected, kept things tight, and given a lot of teams still a chance here with the 2 games left to go, Vicky.
Now with Aurora now sitting in that 3rd place, look how close it is between all these teams. I mean, even UAM isn't safe with only a 9-point difference between themselves and LVH, all the way down to even Alliance, who we were expecting to have a better game at least on World's Edge, still finding themselves at least in this top 10 with 2 more games to go, Rainday.
Yeah, what a fantastic showcase of Apex Legends. We talked meta, we talked potential, we saw new teams kind of show up and rise to the occasion, and now we've got 2 more games left. Game 5 pivotal in determining and setting up your success in this 3rd day of Pro League for EMEA. Who's gonna rise to the top? Who's gonna make it happen? We'll find out in Game 5 right after this.
all right, I'm gonna be right back as well. Let's get it. That's Kashira, by the way.
Welcome back, everyone. 4 games down. We got 2 more to go. 2 games left.
2
on
more
World's
to
Edge.
go.
I'm Vicky Kitty. I'm joined with Dia. And Dia, after the action we saw yesterday, it seems like here Aurora and UAM are looking to feast on this lobby, not giving anybody else the opportunity to take a dub.
That is very true, and I can't believe that I'm saying this again as I come back to the desk, but we have an opportunity for bonus points now, because in 4 games, we've only had 2 winners. Both Aurora and UAM are 1 game away from giving themselves a bonus point, and I think more importantly, having won half the games of the day, which is somehow
A good
just in
pace.
its title even more impressive than any reward you could offer.
If you
Although
also
what's I
wanna
think
stand
more impressive is the fact that
alongside all these
LVH
other legends, there's a
is
chance
up
for
there
you
with
to
those
be
2
on that main
teams,
stage
despite
too.
never winning.
Definitely want to look into that split 1 challenger circuit where you could register your team to compete in the ALGS.
Absolutely, and taking a look back at last game even, we had Phoenix Legacy, we had Aurora, and we also had Infinite. Out of the 3 players on Infinite, 2 of them come from the 2022 Challenger Circuit before being picked up by LCDF. It was Kizarun and Vertige that used to play under Oracle and have made their way, much like you can, this next weekend. Challenger Circuit number 1 is coming up, and you've only got a few days left to register, so go check it out on battlefy.com/ALGS. As we prepare to get into match number 5, we'll get the chance to see a few more of our Challenger Circuit up-risers take on Pro League teams that have been at the top for longer than I can honestly count.
It's awesome too. It gives everybody
Game
the
5,
opportunity to see what their skill are against all these other pros. They can't find them in the firing range in these 1v1s, but you could see them back in the lobby. So we got to see how that goes out for a lot of our other teams that have made their name here in the Pro League. Getting ready for game number 5, Dia. This is one of my favorite games. I always say this, and it's because this is the point in time where a lot of these teams know where they're standing, so they decide to choose violence, like AM right now.
Up against LVH, you do have the chance to shut down a big competitor, but LVH
was Aftermath originally dropping Geyser? I don't think they were they?
Close range and a perfectly timed heal from Vapes keeps Hanzo alive for a few more shots before Flash ultimately ends up falling as well. Liffin and Vapes still
so 2v2
on the climb up with the close range Eva. One shot left can change everything. Very little ammunition left for Lifen, but we know the difference this player can make.
Oh, and here comes in Maiden Heaven.
And look at MIH just waiting over on the other side, close to these rocks here. This is their time to finally get the revenge that they've been looking for.
Down.
Aftermath
Stall gonna drop down.
That is to say,
nice play by Stall.
First here gets another knock here for Stall as he's playing off the low ground. You can see the pings of communication coming in as Aftermath only having Stall left after losing out on another teammate. Drops down, gets the finisher onto 1. Every KP is worth it, and it's Maiden Heavy that have shown their face.
Third party finally comes in, and it's just one player left. The easiest third party in the world for Made in Heaven, but they haven't finished off the last kill just yet. Conduit can be pretty darn slippery, especially with the ability to pick shields back up after time. So we will get one squad making it out a little while longer. LVH survive, and with a support legend, no less. Base is going to book it into the tunnel leading into Geyser.
Which means he could potentially get the team back up.
They could find access to crafting later on to get the rest of LVH back in the game.
Yeah, because there's no replicator over there, unfortunately. You got a circle beacon, but that's not going to do any justice for you right now in the state of you just being the solo conduit. But I love this overhead and taking a look at where this next circle is going to be pulling. Right
so what,
there,
staging?
Closer to
or do we think this pulls up closer to Skyhook?
But what's even incredible is to see the circle beacon and the survey beacon over by Lava Fisher, especially with that replicator being there. So something that Go Next and UAIM could take advantage of on their rotate.
Yeah, a lot of teams, even Alliance, starting to move up, can integrate Lava Fisher into their rotation.
Countdown.
My question
Jesus
is
Christ.
whether we are going to get something that pulls a little bit more towards actual countdown or landslide, which is still absolutely a possibility at this point. The ring is pretty ambiguous, but a lot of teams are choosing to sit in countdown simply because of how punishing it can be to get into, whereas on the other side, it's pretty easy to get out of if the ring decides that it's not going here.
Crazy to see how that is going to be pulling, and I was kidding. Never waste any time here with their spot and predicting where that circle was going to be pulling here. They've already settled themselves inside one of the buildings over in Countdown. Usually with circles like this, you're going to have a lot of teams coexisting in one spot, whether it be on the low ground or high ground. I'm expecting this circle, for this final circle at least, to be pretty hefty on how many squads we'll have left.
Especially with, as you say, this being the 5th game, teams do tend to, especially in Game 5, play a little bit more conservatively. It's Game 6 where we see teams going, well, this is our last chance to get points, so let's run at everything. But Game 5, I think you realize that one 0-point game can very much shift you around in the standings. So those 30-30 shots do come from Alliance to get a knock.
What's Alliance, did we say at 11?
Turn into a kill with how aggressively they're positioning. Effect, of course, taking the lead on this back on Horizon.
They're gonna pick up at least one KP
it's nice
early.
to see, given how well Effect has performed on this legend in the past.
Just breaking free from the chains, letting Effect do what Effect does best. Being the fragger that we all know and love, especially as Alliance are looking to perform in these next 2 games. They're in a pretty good spot over by Grandma's house, over to this north side by Harvest.
I wonder if Alliance maybe took the
off-season 3 purple Evos.
Too easy.
And this is that coexistence
since
that
they
I
were like the
mentioned.
one team that stuck together, you know what I mean?
Hanging on to dear life while no days off are in so much trouble. That is Vamos Get It that is on the high ground here, and that is why you saw 3 Tricks just waiting below, because no matter where he waits on the low ground, they know exactly where he's gonna be.
Not even a real safe place to be right now.
Oh.
Few boxes perhaps could give 3 Tricks a chance to live. Sits behind one at the moment.
Yeah, Vamos Guerrero's gonna run him down
without giving up their positioning. Kashera even overextending a bit too much for my liking, giving the angle that Savage would have on them. So Tricks will be able to survive, given a small lifeline for now. But there are still teams coming from the Skyhook area, and Tricks has attracted attention and will attract more as they attempt to find some small safe corner of World's Edge.
Trying to hop around the hopping horizon, trying to get away. He does manage to survive for right now as Infinite is playing off the low ground. They know about the team that's right on top of them, but this is that coexisting that we had mentioned, except with Infinite's case, they're gonna have to sit pretty here for quite some time.
It shouldn't be a problem to just sit quiet for a little while. Infinite don't have a whole lot of shield sustain, however, so they are relying on the cells that they've been able to pick up. Importantly, not the bats, as there's a limited amount of those, to keep them topped up as other teams try and poke at them, perhaps to level up their own Evos, perhaps to try and find a few kills. That's what World's Edge is really going to come down to, however, with the lower loot density that the map has overall. There's less opportunity for you to pick up things like meds or even attachments that
7
can change
conduits.
your late game.
Seems like it's higher than last week, right?
We're keeping our eyes on teams like Cold and LVH, who are still out here slumming it in stacks. Cold, of course, feeling a lot better since they're the ones sitting on the crafter and just making sure that they are prepared to enter an end game fully juiced up.
I mean, being on Cold, they're looking to ice up
chilling.
LVH here, solo fighting for their life as they try to rotate around stacks just to look at Cold in the face, or they're probably utilizing that replicator.
You think
Looking
Cold
at how
knows
these
that
two
LVH
squads
is
are gonna
down there?
rotate, though,
LVH
it's
is
gonna be a little tricky
trying to
coming
hang
in from
out,
that south side.
just like
So many teams
stay out the
in
radar,
that
but
next circle,
at
talking
some
about
point you gotta move.
ESG, stay healthy, who will be playing by the edge as well as 202. It's going to be difficult to get through there unless you have an evac tower or you use one of the towers to just get right through these chokes. Now, also looking at Aurora, who are also taking their time on this rotate, we could expect Skyhook to be pretty stacked for the teams that are going to try to navigate around Countdown, but weren't able to get to that rotate early.
You were talking about this as well with teams that would like to prioritize Lava Fisher for a beacon. I'd like to point out that Alliance did rotate up through there, as are Vex. Both those teams having access to more information than anyone else in Countdown. There is a chance that Forge are able to grab the actual ring console that's in Countdown, but with so many teams around there, it's that much more difficult. We do briefly make a footnote of Stay Healthy losing another member. They had already lost one to Alliance early on the rotate through staging, and this is yet another squad, much like LVH, that's been reduced to a solo and now has very limited impact on the game.
Taking control over another team out here now as they make
So
their
we've got
rotate
2
around
teams that are
staging.
eliminated,
Talk about the
2
replicator
solos, and then there's
knowing all
2
the
other people that have been
information.
eliminated
They
so
got
far.
the bloodhound, so they could actually get a scan on the survey beacon over to the other side and the ring beacon to know where people are and where that next circle is pulling. So everything on the buffet table for ESG to work with, while Stay Healthy is going to be right behind them making that rotate. You mentioned Alliance. With them going right up north to Lava Fisher, these type of circles usually end up on the outskirts
Someone just
by
got
the
brought back in,
low
though.
ground
48 to
bins
50.
for Countdown. If that does end up happening, this rotate from Vex and Alliance from Lava Fisher into Countdown could actually be better for them with the natural cover that the rocks to their south provide.
Very much so. You could see them with the right prediction, ending up in a top 2, top 3 position, especially now that we've got a wingman that naturally drops with so much ammunition that Hackies should be good till the end of the game. We saw over in North America, Sweet making waves with the wingman yesterday. We could very much get the same happening today. Valbelon's going to craft up the shield. Meanwhile, as Vex do try and rectify a bit of their economy, knowing that they'll likely have to take the fight up against Alliance, because going south and trying to enter Countdown that way is just setting yourself up for failure.
Also love how
I'm guessing
production
Sweet
pulls
must
up
have been
that
popping off
crafting
during that 20
rotation
kill
for
game,
the
huh?
day. It's so important. I know Dia and I have been talking about it basically all day, but having that Moby there too with so many conduits, as well as a Skull Piercer, purple sniper stock, with the amount of 30-30s that we've had in these lobbies, it's important for the teams that do want to rotate using the Replicator as that point of interest.
Made in Heaven sitting right next to Infinite. I think evidence with their spot of how few spaces are left in Countdown. They're even going to try and start a fight onto Infinite, a crippled Infinite at that. Not a full squad. Aimbot going down, and Made in Heaven, all three very healthy, just have to navigate their angles from the high ground, and a great smoke cuts them off.
Is Vamos Guerrero still above them?
To finish off
or is that
Infinite,
EXO
and a few
drop
more
down?
kills go their way. This is going to be in collaboration with EXO, who are on the other side. Both teams wanting a bite out of Infinite there, and both getting exactly what they came for. Thon, the last solo left, or the most recent one rather, created in Countdown. We'll be ratting this out for now, and it's an unlikely spot to push, but not a great one.
We got a lot of rats, surprisingly. A rather unfinished squads. We got, I believe, 2 teams that are playing as a duo, Stay Healthy and LVH. EXO's healthy, standing on top here. We got no days off playing this as a rat. With Phoenix Legacy, you also have gotten down early, as we had seen before the feed. That low ground's already available for more of these teams to try to share some of that space with, as long as they're out of the line of sight of the squads that are holding onto the high ground. And this circle's pulling away from the west side of Countdown and right on top of Go Next, which, with Orgless and Hungry rotating out of Landslide, where TO2 has been there basically this whole time, can take advantage of that southern rotation.
Yeah, you gotta wonder as far as
of Countdown.
What things look like
our teams that
when teams start rotating
Cold
this way.
Just made their way right next to Countdown, but Stay Healthy as a full 3-person team are starting to move up and challenge 202 in Landslide. This could be the comeback story for Stay Healthy, though they have limited time to do it. With Aurora fighting their way out of Skyhook, all teams that are currently outside of zone have only 30 seconds to change that. And Aurora, for as kitted as they are, still have very little space with which to work.
That Kraber, though, had me sitting on the edge of my seat. If that Horizon was going to open those doors, 9 Impulse just waiting with the itch, with the trigger finger, getting ready to get pulled here. 18 squads left still as more of these teams are making their rotate. Go Next.
Oh, look like they had good position.
One of the members added to the list of rats that we have in this lobby. Right through the cat wall, he takes some of those shots with the Volt, lacking a little bit though on attachments on that Volt since they made that early rotate, having only the white mag, and we see ESG taking this fight against 202, the team that was taking their time to rotate out of Landside to gatekeep the Fragment teams, now are finding this fight over to the south side of where that next circle was pulling.
Still another squad coming up behind them as well. Landslide is a highly trafficked area, especially with the ring closing in. LVH rock up behind 202 just in time to claim another kill. And now we'll be splitting directions. Do they choose to chase this engagement with ESG or go along the eastern side of the ring, contesting teams like perhaps Made in Heaven? Vaves certainly seems to want the fight right now.
We're about to see
uses the
this kill feed kind of light up.
Themselves topped up and continues
maybe not right now. Definitely when next ring closed off though. Oh, LVH is in trouble.
But the fight continues as
that should be able to clear this up, right?
Back in to clean up LVH.
Nice.
Oh, with another crazy nade, just as quick as it started, LVH get taken out, and Vex have the graveyard to themselves. All the loot for them to feast on.
But UAIM's still in this,
and
right?
they could take some time.
I don't think we've seen UAIM go out.
It is Orgless and Hungry who are waiting inside.
I actually don't think we've really seen UAIM at all, have we?
Right now, after we had seen the action go down with the 2 squads that were fighting. Go Next, by the way, still alive here. Made in Heaven, trying to restabilize. Nice gold knockdown to at least get the res with some extra health for Tax.
And will mean that Tax is essentially full HP. This team, however, being another one not to run the Horizon, doesn't have access to high ground. It can only really enter the zone in one way, with so much ground being covered on the other side by Cold. There's not going to be an entrance there. Made in Heaven must enter through the low ground, pushing down onto...
Alliance is really making sure they show up late.
Sitting in the center.
They're coming in off a redeploy here, off a balloon.
We're taking to the skies. Alliance trying to find a place to land. They've found at least the safety inside this low ground.
Right next to UAIM though, right?
That raises here. And with the Havoc in, that's all Effect needs here. With the turbo already attached to the weapon, he's able to navigate around the Bangalore ult.
Yeah, so UAIM's over here.
With Vex
They've got
the
Vex above them. They've also got Vamos
Crazy
Cuerre.
effect lives there.
That's
And
above
Vex,
YoBoyCue.
who did rotate in from the south after clearing their backs, have made it work so much easier with the proper timing. Now are bullying Alliance. How the turntables, Vicky, being able to take high ground on them now when Alliance should have been the squad that was able to cut off Vex at Lava Fisher.
I love to see it. And YoBoyCue also, by the way, still alive, still waiting on the high ground by Countdown. They've been in that spot for quite some time, close to Vamokerid, who are still inside, by the way, that little tiny building with the comp that they've been rocking. It makes sense. You have the Crypto and the Watson. You're just going to be sitting pretty in there until that end circle. It forces you to move. The Citerfons now taking their time to hang out by the graveyard that we saw all the action go down on this low ground. Trying to get out of the line of sight of some of the squads that are making their rotate, such as the Forge. Overlooking the teams that have the hike here close to Alliance. YoBoyCue and Hungry trying to stave off any more pressure from stay healthy. And yeah, with that Catalyst wall, they get out of line of sight from the teams that are going to be making that rotate and playing underneath the team that's right above them.
This is such a scary spot to play, but somehow LCDF make it work. VQ were not looking over them. They did not get any shots in the back.
But how do you get up to high ground from
now
where they're
sharing
at?
space, as
Is
you
the real
said,
question.
with Forge right above.
I know there's the zip line there, but you don't want to go up that thing.
Will still be a
It's a death
challenging
sentence.
one. VQ will have to consider this as well. Without nearly as many mobility tools, they've got a Bangalore, and that's it. In terms of making their rotation all the safer, perhaps a team wipe with a nicely timed EMP, but VQ will not have the option to circumvent fights, to cut themselves off from other teams. They have to go through other teams or stop their journey here.
Yeah, unlike other squads here, they don't have a Catalyst wall to block the line of sight for many of these other teams that are going to be looking at them when they make this rotate. That's actually something that I was wondering for Le Citerfons. They had to burn through that wall, but now with this next move, they'll still be out in the open for the teams that are on the southern point of Countdown. VQ already making their next move, and YoBoyCue is trying to do the same with round 5 closing in right behind them.
So you have who all over here is going to have to move? YoBoyCue, Vamos
Couple
Cuerre.
seconds left. Taking a look at what they've got.
I think Vex has to move from where they're at as well, right?
Hands of Artie, which makes this all the more difficult. Not able to clear space without having to peek it yourself. But a Catalyst wall in their hands could be the determining factor. Down
Forge
towards
drops
the north
down.
side, we've got Forge dropping as we knew they would. Right on top of Le Citerfons. Only one of these teams is coming out of this alive, and that is only going to be temporary. The Catalyst wall drops,
YoBoyCue
but fights are kicking
with
off.
Alliance and Vamos Cuerre trying to move their way in.
YoBoyCue, VQ are all converging on one space.
And you can see the teams remaining too. All those teams right above YoBoyCue's head here too. While they join alongside Vamokerid, they're going to be trying to navigate around these boxes. Max Strafing goes.
They gotta
down
watch
almost
people rotating in
immediately
behind them
after
first.
The Citerfons come out from their fight. Kashera also knocked, only leaving Kings up as the up and alive healthy one. Lose out now on Sens, and right there in the distance, that is Le Citerfons.
Nice
Stay
little
healthy,
spot
get
here.
eliminated. YoBoyCue finally get eliminated, and
He's gonna be able to finish off
somehow
Yuki.
are still alive,
Nope.
while Yuki is literally one.
Kings was heralded as one of the best controller players in South America. And now with 2 solos right in front of him, will Kings take the bait? Will he rock forward
good play by
through this
Unlucky
Catalyst
here.
wall? But no,
Really good
he'll
play.
Get shot down from above. Unlucky takes him out. YoBoyCue and Hungry
Able to get back with the
take
rest of his team,
extension.
too.
They claim
They're on the
life
high
of a
ground. They
solo.
do have to
Push
remember the teams
themselves
on the
into
outside of their
place,
door,
and
though.
in the best spot in the game, put themselves in an even better position somehow to win it.
YoBoyCue is no longer nerfed. Allow the tech running in the way that they want here for this game. They're
feel like
looking
Vex
to
is
claim
in the
this
best
dub.
spot,
Being
right?
inside this building, knowing very well that
Isn't
there's
that
a
where this
team
thing's
right
ending?
outside those bunker doors. It is Vex. It is MIH waiting underneath the high ground here, as graceful is the rat waiting off that slight lip that MIH has no idea about.
And we did mention this earlier, but MIH weren't running, I believe, Horizons, as if I'm recalling it correctly, which would mean that there is a point in this circle where they're no longer effectively able to third party, where they're relegated to the low ground and a potential heal off to try and get themselves a victory. YoBoyCue and Hungry have to manage them, but more importantly, they have to manage Vex, which is why they're looking off to the east.
So they're trying to play this, taken to the high ground. You talk about the Horizon, and Vex have Wing 1 in their arsenal
shots.
now. Dropping down with the
might not
R9,
wanna
gets
drop
the
there.
beamage and a knock onto EXO.
Ugh!
Senti
Wow.
gets that last shot.
Jeez Louise.
Well, 2 of the members are one. Now they have to make the next move. Love the coordination with that wall.
Babylons will be able to get the med kit off, still make use of the Catalyst wall, which goes up the side. all the way, covering every possible sightline. Vex have become an even bigger problem for Orgless and Hungry since they rinsed EXO so quickly. Now they just have to focus on Orgless and Hungry in front of them. We did talk about this earlier, but Made in Heaven not running the Horizon, now that it's confirmed, will have an even tougher time making it up. And Vex seem to be gatekeeping Orgless and Hungry miraculously. This Sentinel not failing for Babylons.
I told you they had to worry about the team that's outside this door.
Everyone having red Evo, purple Evo, having that Senti charged up, you are ripping through them off the rip once you get that first shot in, having advantage. Orgless and Hungry see the team right below them, gets blasted in the face with another Senti shot. That is insane. Babylons is going crazy with that weapon.
That's smart. They fall and fight for third, taking out MIH.
They gave up the high ground. They're playing for second
Smart.
place. While Vex have all the cards in their favor to take this dub. Made in Heaven get eliminated. Last two teams left with the last.
They might have been
trying to
Made in
take
Heaven,
the
but they're
round.
getting shot from the skies, and oh
Vex
my
claim game number
goodness.
5.
Really, really clean win from Vex. The way that they played things out, dominating EXO in no short fashion over towards the silos, then focusing on Orgless and Hungry, who were the #1 threat in that ring, forcing
I
them
just
to
would like
take
to point
second
out
place.
that when we were
Vex
talking
didn't
about
give
Orgless and
anyone
Hungry's
else
positioning,
autonomy in this game, and
that was a team I said
it
probably
makes
had
me
the only
really
better
happy
spot.
seeing that, because that's
They
just
won.
what good Apex Legends looks
I'm
like.
smart.
That's managing your threats
me.
appropriately.
Hey, can someone else pat me on the back? It's fucking hard to do it myself, man.
That was crazy off. I mean, close quarters like that, you don't need a sight. He was rocking that iron sight perfectly fine. Had that Sentinel charged up for that final fight. And the moment that they saw that they were the only ones that had claimed that high ground, they knew that they were the winners for that game. And they needed it too.
Yeah, I really appreciated that. Even after seeing Orgless and Hungry drop down and eliminate a squad, they didn't go, all right, let's pile in there. They waited. They
Right.
sat up top because they were like, well, the game's coming here, so you are too if you want to win it. And just shut down yet another team. Really great win for Vex. And it means that nobody else gets bonus points this game because Roar and UAIM both didn't win. So...
That is very true, and I think Vex was also in 15th, if I can recall correctly, before that game. So when I say that they needed it, they definitely needed it, especially in that second to last
Vex
game
is in
on World's Edge
17th
before we
for
dive
that.
into our final game here for EMEA.
And now that we're on World's Edge, we are getting to see a very different
they're
play
tied for
style. I want to
15th.
take a look
Okay.
back at this game because while contests are important, we did see ultimately a lot of teams being whittled down to just one person, avoiding being completely thirsted while at the same time not giving themselves a whole lot of options. And a lot of this happened on rotation because as much as the fight off drop mattered, teams like Made in Heaven were constantly looking for angles, and EXO Clan from up on high got to be the beneficiaries of their initial drop and their quick rotation into countdown and not lose out on members like we saw, say, LVH do as they
Got us
tried
a
to make
nice
the
little
late
game
rotate.
going into
In
game
this-
number
in
6
this
though,
vein as
chat.
well. Beautiful timing for
Still
Vex to
plenty of
come in
people
on this.
still in it.
Another great shot.
Updated
of the
scoreboards
Sentinel
coming
from
up now
Babylon.
to both
He's using
YouTube
it more
and
like a
Twitch.
shotgun than anything else. The Sentinel is a close-range weapon for Babylons, and I'm not sure that should be working.
I'd actually be terrified that just destroyed me so close here. And Valkyrie having to fight for their life on their rotate. You talk about how difficult it'd be, especially when you don't really have anything to work with like a cat wall. You have the smokes, but you're very limited compared to the cat wall that's up for a few seconds, while Orgless and Hungry clean up what was left below their feet. It was EXO Clan here that took some of that distraction away before Vex had come in to clean up what was left of EXO when they made that rotate.
Give me the Sentinel shot. It's gonna happen.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Right there. And another one.
This is Babylon's highlight reel.
It was Sentinel Gaming at the end. Really, and I'd say typically underutilized weapon as well. Since we have so many 30-30s in the lobby, typically, now that we're getting to see perhaps a different weapon take the spotlight, at least for Babylons, makes it look good. This does mean that, of course, with the win, they walk away with plenty of kills on top of this as well, but Orgless and Hungry were not playing a quiet game by any means.
No, absolutely not. Look at the comparison right here between Vex and Orgless. They still were able to accrue 9 KP after coming in second. They knew that they were going to be playing for second the moment that they honestly dropped down and gave up that high ground where they didn't take that fight versus Vex, not knowing if there was a Horizon perhaps on that low ground that could gravity lift themselves to third party the fight that would have been inevitable between these two teams. And then looking at Vex's side, yeah, they put in the damage, but Orgless and Hungry basically rounding it off with 1,000 more damage that they put in.
Ah, damn.
And they just had
4,500
such an
damage from
active
Orgless and
position
Hungry.
in this ring.
Oh,
Orgless
oi.
and Hungry took control
Bruv.
of the south hub in Countdown, and from there on, we're managing a lot of their threats. You'll notice that Vex didn't initially push them, instead waiting to get a little bit more space. Nobody wants to fight Orgless and Hungry close range because they chewed through teams, totaling to 16 points this game. They do land just behind Vex, but it's going to be a good game for both teams. Made in Heaven even cannot feel
Big
bad
agreed,
about that,
Moon. Big
especially with the
agreed.
way that they were forced to play from the outside of Countdown.
Nice, looking right
Especially
now
in
all the way
comp.
down. Alliance sitting in 8th place. I'm currently interested to see what's on that second page here. We see UAIM also down there. We saw Aurora actually falling pretty early. You can see over in 14th place. So yeah, that back-to-back unfortunately scraped up the table here. We have to see if they have enough points overall, if they could get any extra bonus points. But I'm looking all the way down to Phoenix Legacy, a team that had gotten 2nd place in that last game, unfortunately falling into 19th.
Yeah, and I
early
feel
in
like
the
heavy ammo is a little bit easier to come across.
This one is, of course, a difficult zone for them because Phoenix Legacy does rely on getting into a good position.
Plus, you have a better
earlier,
shot-
like
shot rate.
Bumblebee wanted to, and ultimately did during the mid game. Now they still land themselves, Bumblebee, in the top 3 with LVH and UAIM standing.
And overall, a
above
better
them.
selection on
But it
your,
is so extraordinarily close.
scopes,
Even
better
Aurora,
medium distance.
who have won 2 games themselves, haven't made it all the way to 2nd. LVH and VQ are just too consistent.
Wow, it's still so close though for this top 5. Look at this, even all the way down to Lecite de France holding 40 points. They have one pop-off game that we know they're capable of. They'll skyrocket and find themselves within the top 2 perhaps, seeing how Vamakadir is going to play into that next circle. I'm expecting it to be a lot slower, but we'll have to see with the teams that know where they're
I feel like if
standing, especially
UAIM
the
goes
teams in
out
the second
early,
half,
anywhere down
they
to
need play a
Infinite
little
could
bit
still
more
put themselves up in
aggressively
first
if they wanna
place.
get the points that they need to be in the top 10.
Yeah, because like you say, this is the final game that's coming up, and it's where we typically see a lot of the aggression unleashed, where this time we saw picks off on
Go refill
rotations,
my water real quick, champ.
not a whole lot of teams chasing down to actually finish those kills. Game 6, every single point matters, and we will see chase downs. We will see teams hoping that they can come out on the better end of a lot of the risks that they'll ultimately end up taking. I'm also hoping that we get a bit of a different look at the zone, because it's been fascinating to see 2 very different ways to play World's Edge, and I'd like to insert a third into there, especially because rotations are so impactful, as we just saw with Phoenix Legacy.
We're gonna have to see how all that plays out. We got one last game underway for you guys on World's Edge. Don't go anywhere. We got some more Apex Legends action for you.
I mean, the one thing about extremely long range, though, is that that poke damage helps early rotate teams get their Evo up, right? I guess would be the only, like, flip side of that.
Welcome back, everyone, to the ALGS EMEA edition here. I'm Vicky Kitty. I'm joined with Dia. And Dia, we've had some crazy action, consistency from a lot of teams, whether it be on World's Edge or Stormpoint. But now we are down to our final game of the day.
We have seen, as you say, a lot of consistency, and that's been the standout for me. Teams like VQ, who are constantly getting themselves into zone, LVH, and Made in Heaven, who after a difficult start have moved their way back into a top contender, placing in the top 3 during last map. There is just one game, as you say, left, however, and this is where we'll get a lot of questions answered. First of all, who's going to walk away with the first place in today's games? But also, after this game, it's the end of the first round robin. We'll have a much clearer idea of who are, from a factual standpoint, from a statistical backing, the best teams in EMEA.
Yeah, I mean, if you take a look at the top 5 of the overall standings for both B and C currently, UAIM heads the way with 54 points, LVH right behind him with 46. So seeing how that's going to play out, all the way to Vamos Querer with 43, it's incredibly tight here for this top 5. And there's only one game left to determine how these teams have been able to do within their respective groups.
As the dropship goes on forward, we are going to be moving from north to south in this particular game, which means the teams that land over by Climatizer, teams like Aurora, are going to have a much faster time to rotate than other squads that land south, like, say, Alliance. Alliance, who we have touched on quite a few times today, haven't been having the terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day that they had in the first set of games, but this isn't their dream either, and neither is it LVH's.
Come on, Aftermath.
They escape down onto the low ground, if only
Shady.
briefly with Aftermath chasing them.
Always Aftermath going for these 50-50s here. Already trying to take advantage with a rampage, finding Hanzo. He's going to try to crawl away here, but Flash having that advantage with the EVA 8, going to be able to get some extra loot if he can, and it's going to be the PK in his hands while looking at what is left of the opposing squad inside of that middle building.
It is going to be difficult to
LVH
see
down to a duo,
as well Aftermath should.
Aftermath should know where they're at.
There was a third party that came in last time from Made in Heaven, so you will have to approach this silently and quickly in order to get the last 2 KP. It may in fact be better for Aftermath to move on, given the information they already have, but defensive gravity lift on the inside, and Aftermath are showing no signs of giving ground.
Taking a look at where the circle is going to be pulling to, with these other 50-50s going down here. Now, as Aftermath is going to move away, we see Aftermath not going to be able to give this up just yet as a duo. I mean, it's easy peasy for them. Gotta go for the little tactical crouches, make a statement here as Aftermath are on their last game. And, you know, last game previous on game number 5, it didn't work out in the best way for them. So now as we take a look at where this next circle is going to be pulling after they're done with their fight, having that ring console available to them, we're moving all the way down to the middle, so slightly shifting away from our last final circle over in Countdown.
I like it. It's not a totally different look. In fact, it's just somewhere in between the 2 zones. And so a lot of our rotations will be similar to what we saw in Game 1. Take, for example, Phoenix Legacy, who have made their way up from Geyser, but this time are taking an evac tower to lengthen that rotation and make it, I'd imagine, somewhere into Monument. This is a difficult zone to call, as it'll likely pull over by, in fact, where Vex is standing right now.
They do want to sit at least in that southern building from Monument. It could allow Phoenix Legacy to call where that next circle is going to be pulled and give them a better rotation point if they want to go for a 50-50 rotation and decide whether they want to rotate up on the train tracks for a later circle or try to navigate around through the choke closer to Grandma's house. We'll see that later as we tune into UAIM, our #1 team right now in this lobby. Seeing as they're going to be able to loot up Landslide and see where that circle is going to be pulling.
Ooh, Organism Hungry's been able to get themselves a first pick here against the Forge.
UAIM would really like to stay in control of this lobby, but
Organism Hungry, one of those teams that's like just on the verge of
more chaotic. It's difficult to predict. I love the spot that Phoenix Legacy have set themselves
maybe a
up
chance
in,
a big game could help them out.
Chaos will reign, but a spot like this, while it may not look good on paper, when you have a Watson to back you up, can give Phoenix Legacy a lot more autonomy than any other team in their position loot-wise.
And that's why I love that their game plan with this composition is try to get to that position as quickly as you can, especially for this final game.
I mean, honestly, Sabs has been putting them in some really good spots,
but you're out of the trouble that the Forge is currently in, as they
get wiped haven't been able to fight their way into great position. Like, haven't been able to fight their way into better positions that just simply great positioning gets them.
And they're not going to be moving out from here, too. We can expect this circle to get heavily congested, especially over by Monument, where there's a lot of buildings for teams to coincide in.
This also means that ring consoles are coming at a premium, because as much as you want to get into this zone early, having a little bit of extra data as to whether it pulls hard Monument, whether we're going a little further towards Landslide and Harvester is going to make all of the difference. And teams like, say, ESG, I think, who rotate from the south, Alliance, who rotate from the south, will have a better chance of running into ring consoles on their rotation. Though they may not get a spot in zone, they'll have an informational advantage over the teams that have chosen, by loot or just by happenstance, to bunker down early.
Yeah, I'm actually really happy that you call that out too, because whether it be staging or landslide, there may not be a replicator over in staging. There's actually one in landslide like we saw before, but it's with that rotation that allows them to call their next move as we tune into Vex, who are hanging out by the choke that we saw Chaos in for our game number 4. But with only no days off making that rotate from Harvester, they could wait here for right now before they may be inevitably pinched in this situation. There is some natural cover that they could work off of, but this could be third-party central for the teams rotating from the south side or even the east side.
Yeah, well, I don't like holding this position because it looks like suffering, as you say, easily besieged for Vex. It's also a zone ending. Zones have ended here before. They end very frequently on the train tracks right above them. And if Vex can hold on to the spot, they'll be in a great
They'll be in a phenomenal spot.
They're going to have to deal with other teams, much like Stay Healthy do at the moment.
Stay Healthy's up out of here. They can't stay healthy for
as they get very quickly taken down by Aftermath. Cold come in right behind that. Aftermath have made short work of a squad, but now the test is, can they reset in time?
I'm getting a feeling of deja vu right now. The same third party, and even with a slight different timing coming in from Cold as they move in, looking at Aftermath run away for their lives, getting out of that vault as the EMP has been unleashed. We know that has to be Phoenix Legacy on the other side. Orglis and Hungry are fighting for this building.
They need a space to play. Unfortunately for them, a conduit ult secures the first floor. Orglis and Hungry can technically share space. It's difficult to push onto a Watson up above them, but there's a world where Orglis and Hungry actually sit next to Phoenix Legacy, who would also love to avoid a fight.
That's why they're just gonna wait and I guess share this building with them being above them until one of these teams get into a better position to entry frag, but I'm not expecting that happening anytime soon. That's just welcoming a third party, especially if these cat walls get broken down. They're going to be sharing this here for quite some time. Maiden Evan and Infinite do the same thing, but they're trying to get into some of these different angles. And if anything,
I don't think Orglis and Hungry wants to
charge with the crypto EMP.
I don't think they want to share real estate here.
Looking at Orglis and Hungry and wondering what is going on. They're getting so aggressive, and I want to hear it from their perspective. Let's jump into a listen.
Let's do it.
Orglis and Hungry.
Good call, Dia. Nice.
Don't go down, play top. Don't fucking play.
Phoenix Legacy gonna be out. It's a tough day for them.
Let's go, boys. Our game.
Other than their 1-16-point game, they only end up putting up like another less than 10 points.
We just hold this now, clean everyone down here.
There's a reason this team is ecstatic. Taking that fight should not have been allowed by the teams around them by any means, but Orglis and Hungary get away with stealing one of the best spots in Monument right now, taking out the team right above them, getting 3 KP, and in the last game, Vicky, where, as we said, points come at a premium. There's very limited opportunity for you to pick those up.
And that's a team that's in 5th, by the way, which is important to highlight, considering that Phoenix Legacy was in 13th right before that game had started here, too. So Orglis and Hungry now finding themselves with 40 points right behind Aurora, who have 42 points, have found themselves in a great
And remember,
building to hold
LVH
for
went
this
out
final
early,
circle.
so
I love hearing the comms
the
of the
benchmarker right now for
themselves now
second
after
place
that
is
fight,
46
like you mentioned,
points.
3 extra KP and placement points on top of it all. Now, looking also at the teams that are taking their time to rotate, playing more so by the edge. You mentioned Alliance before. They can go through staging because Harvester actually has the replicator and the ring console for them to work with, as well as probably a slower rotate that they would feel safer with, depending on where the other squads rotating out of Lava Siphon may go.
All right, Aftermath.
Map, Aurora have done a
Gonna be
very
over here next to
similar
202.
thing, approaching through Epicenter with both crafting and
Both of those teams will be good for this ring, but they will have to eventually move again.
To watch in this last game, already having taken out 2 squads. They've got a total of 5 kills so far, but Aftermath have been taking every single engagement after some disappointing later games for themselves on Storm Point. They're still using what this squad was built to do. This squad was built to kill other teams.
With that composition, that's how you have to play, especially with the Horizon. You put yourself in the better spot and you allow the rest of your team to int on another squad. If you have nobody else to worry about around you and they are staring at 202 over on the other side of Fragment. More of these teams here on the north side of Monument. That's going to be YoAim looking to also try to rotate from that north side. Cadet is taking their time, moving in from the northeast side. With ESG taking this fight over by this hilltop. They're trying to gatekeep this team, but wrapping around on the other side, you have to imagine, whether it be an evac tower or a Valcolt, since we've seen 2 already in the lobby thus far, you have to worry about how some of these teams are going to go for this rotate. They're just taking the walk over in front of ESG. I think that's Cold actually making that rotate before they try to get to the east side of that circle. They have to think about 2-2 and Aftermath that are currently there too.
And the high ground here does matter quite a bit. It's giving Light the opportunity to reset, even as Cold start to make quite a bit of damage stick. So much, in fact, that Cold are starting to move back in, not rotating towards Monument, instead confident that they can take the fight up against ESG. Tyler, the one that's going to have to open things up for the team on Bangalore, does so with a nice bit of early damage, but a catalyst wall to block their path means that Cold get to make use of this corridor that they've created in front of them and try and get ahead of ESG.
They should be able to turn then after they get the heals and be able to zone them out.
Oh,
Graceful. Graceful.
Here comes Graceful with the entry frag. Already putting in a lot of pressure. JMW using those temporary shields, though, unfortunately gets taken down immediately right afterwards. Graceful getting beamed. Tyler, though, to help clean up what is left as a squad right below them.
Nice.
ESG get eliminated. And side by side, while that was
Aftermath's trying to get a shield swap here for stall.
Take advantage of
nice stall.
Perhaps that were trying to take some shots at the team that was right in front of them.
And for both teams, Conduit being able to Radiant transfer before going down changes everything. Aftermath
but now Stall's down to 1 HP in a dream. 202 is going to hunt him down.
Even as they run from the remaining members of 202.
Ain't no way.
Radiant transfer continuing after Catalyst gets knocked. Changes the fight for Cold, makes them able to stay in the fight for just a little bit longer. And for 202, now that they've been able to take over the buildings in Monument, it's likely that we see these two squads clash next, Cold and 202.
Now this works out with Aurora being right in front of them, looking at Orgless and Hungry. They'll hear that fight go down. Once that next circle starts closing in the next less than 20 seconds, Aurora with the ping, they know they are right there ahead in the distance. 202 maybe be looking to cross through that zip here, but they will not be able to get the chance. Well, the fight inside the tunnel by Lionslide is going down here. It's EXO versus Go Next with Dex keeping them in their sights from right behind, who have not moved from that non-name POI.
Disruptor Alternator does hurt quite a bit. Bambino takes a quick reset. Sikashi pushes up to try and finish off a kill. G7 hipfire should do the job.
Can I hit a shot, please?
Into this will do it, but the movement on the other side is just too good. Young Hong Kong does go down, and with Bambino having fallen as well, you have to imagine that Vex are just off screen, waiting for their chance to third party. Mexi gonna slide in, try and finish off this kill. Does so.
Bro, slippery like a snake. My gosh.
And Vex do not push this even after the extended fight.
They're just taking shots from a distance. It sounds like a wingman that they were able to acquire here without trying to overextend because
really though.
Side of Monument. Currently, as you say, gate kept by LCDF. Alliance lies in front of both of these teams, playing in the open territory. Alliance with one match win.
All right, we back.
Change the story of today for themselves. Max Strafe takes quite a bit of damage, but
everybody up here is getting on the internet to watch the Baltimore game, man.
Very nearly the rest of Monument. One goes down, Max Strafe is out, and you cannot recover Max at this point. The ring just hurts too darn much.
Yeah, you just got to keep running for it right now. Sonya fighting for their life. While Made in Heaven is taking shots on the defense, Infinite is right there.
In Lamar we trust.
The circle that I was waiting to see. And guess who got whiff of an advantage point? It's going to be Valkyrie, who are also moving underneath those train tracks. YoAim with Sonya still alive is inside the next circle.
Yo, I am 1000% going down to the party if they win Super Bowl. Best believe it.
Moving up behind them, and some nice shots from the high ground, but a Kiner will take
you coming with
down.
Moon?
Iziden commits onto the low ground. LCDF want to run on the north side of this zone, but Catalyst Wall does cut them off. Go next. Do fall on their exit from Landslide, and on the south side of the zone.
Vamos Carrier still in here. Orgos and Hungry. Yo, we've got a couple of teams looking to try and make a play.
LCDF continue pushing in on low ground. Cold goes down. LCDF open up massively with Izidan cracking 3 people. This has to be their fight on low ground, even though it's just Izidan committing to it.
They are just breaking everything down from that side of the circle, too, and it was because they were least contested moving from the west side.
Does Lecite the Bronze pull this off in Game 6?
That have to exit out of Monument. Great position for them to be in, as one of the members of Lecite de France are still inside that next circle, and Aurora, with Oi Rain in a little bit of trouble, looking to restabilize here, finding themselves in some trouble.
Where did UAIM go out?
Well, he's got the wingman
like
in hand, and playing off this low ground, made in heaven, get eliminated. It's Lecite de France that are taking so much space in that northern circle.
So what? We have Lecite de France, Aurora, and who?
And remember, Aurora, if they should win this game, as they are so close to doing, would get an extra point. Would be, at this point, the most winningest team in EMEA for this split, and they can take that momentum right now, but with Alliance looking down on them.
It's
with
Alliance,
LCDF
Aurora, and
down on them,
LCDF.
it is a literal
Alliance has the high ground here on the left, or on the right.
To climb. LCDF have the biggest attention
3v3
off of Alliance.
3v3.
As much as they're trying to look down at Aurora, Alliance know that Lecite de France are likely the largest threat to their game win.
It's a fact that when the world needed Alliance the most, they've come and they've conquered, holding on to the high ground. They have the positional advantage here, and it's like you mentioned, Aurora being that threat over on the other side, as well as Lecite de France looking to try to fight their way from that north side, though. Aurora's the one that's on that low ground.
So Aurora's getting attention, and so does that cause Alliance a 3P?
It's so low, but with the amount of
Alliance
space
is the one
between
shooting
them and
right
Alliance, it's natural for Alliance to focus them. LCDF could actually move into third-party and engagement, an engagement that Aurora do not want to happen, but that Alliance simply must make work. LCDF are going to be taking space on the other side of this, while Oi Rain just tries to keep Alliance at a distance. Good beams.
Hold on,
through the
going to the
smoke,
skies.
but is it enough?
Big suck.
Aurora do
Oh,
not
here
want to
comes
take this lying down, and Oi Rain jumps up on the
LCDF,
ground.
surely,
He looks
right?
now desperately trying to disengage as Hardeki goes down. Hasn't been enough.
Alliance is going to go and break off and fight LCDF.
Want to third party afterwards, and with Izidan down, Alliance commit to the fight.
Alliance re-pushes onto LCDF.
Now it's only up to Psycop. Every single time a team tries to push onto Alliance, they get shut down. Now it's a duo and a rat.
Is Aurora, and Aurora's back to a full 3.
Who are up and alive.
Can they get reset
they were
before?
able to get the res though onto Hardeki. So if they can restabilize though and get
all right,
extra
3v3
KP,
Aurora versus
that's
Alliance.
Aurora trying to reset.
Aurora with all 3 members back up, but still on the low ground, want their third win. Alliance desperately want their first. The team that everyone has said nay to in year 4 might still be able to take this, but
Aurora's got the full reset.
With that low ground position, Hardeki is so split from the squad. Impulse and Oi Rain are so incredibly low.
The 3-timers here, trying to find a way around the rock, trying to take different angles while 9 Impulse holds one side with the Digi. Destroying
Hardeki's
spikes at the same time, while Alliance are
to
going
cover.
to have to move from
Oi Rain's at 50 health as well.
Aurora want to claim the crown, but Alliance
Come on,
need
Alliance.
to keep it in their hands. The kings of EMEA from
Come on,
last
Alliance.
split may still retake it. Impulse and Oi Rain are down. It's just Hardeki, and Hardeki can't do it alone. Alliance.
Let's go, Alliance. Good bounce back, man.
Just at the end of the first round, Robin.
It was just enough damage at the very end. Hockey's
They were down in
effect,
10th
finishing
before
off
this game
with
started.
4
They
KP
needed
each,
this. Way
leaving
more than
them at
Aurora
9
needed it.
KP with Yuki being that finisher here. Alliance needed that win.
Yep.
They get the dub, and they get the KP necessary to stay in the conversation.
That is a great way to end the day. Watching Alliance reclaim, even if it is just by 1 game, should be enough, not just for them, but for their fans that have been sitting silently, holding their breath for the past 3 days of play.
It's just the fact that they were now able to sit close to the top 5, probably 6 after their last previous game. That was something that they needed, and it's perfect because we were able to open up the pre-show, hearing Aki's thoughts on
maybe 6
forward after having a pretty
I don't think they get much further than that.
day. And here they are, a little quiet at the start, but right
maybe
when
top
we needed it on
5.
World's Edge, they get the dub in a very intense
Because what,
situation
Vamos
too, after
Carrera
Aurora
was
tried
at
to go for a
43?
reset.
Let's take a look back at this game as well, because Alliance were not the focus. They were not the team that was in the middle of everything, taking every fight. So many of our other squads, as you and I had postulated, Vicky, chose instead to make this the game where they would commit to everything. We had so many engagements taking place way outside of the ring, and for Orclus and Hungary, who were gutsy enough to do it, even inside the ring.
Actually, in Alliance here, we saw that made the rotate over to Harvester. There was a ring console there and a replicator, so once he took that fight, they also felt confidence when they were able to make that rotate away from Harvester into this spot that you saw Cold in trying to take more of these fights. It was a lot of these congestion points where we saw Go Next also try to take this fight, the catwalk going up, Vex sitting on the other side of that tunnel entrance. Well, even though this fight did last a little bit long, this was a tough rotation point for the teams. They were
I want leaderboard so I can turn my lights off, please.
I like predicting Monument in theory, because if it goes there, at
Alliance
least you've got a
finishes
building,
6th.
and it's a
1
lot
point
easier of a spot to
below
hold than
LVH.
what teams like Vex
LVH
and Go
sat
Next were
second all
trying
day,
to
and they
do.
fell out at
But
5th.
man, did we see
That's tough.
how much it can pay off to sit on the outside of the ring in a slightly riskier position for teams like Alliance, who were not holding any real space. Through Harvester, they jumped straight into the outside of Monument, where there is no cover outside of the natural cover that you talked about with these rocks. Aurora played a very similar game, moving their way up along the ridgeline, contesting against Cold, moving down to clean up squads from Monument. They tried their darndest, but they did not achieve the 3 wins on the day. Alliance sweep that away with a 9-kill, 21-point finish in first place.
I love that that was shut down for each of the teams that I got in 2 wins today as well. UAIM,
All right, chat.
Aurora, even to the very
Y'all
end.
ready for this
Alliance
scoreboards?
finishing first with 9
Scoreboards!
KP is what you like to see. Even all the way down with Aurora finishing with 3 KP, playing a little bit safe, more by the edge as they usually do. But Leciter Fonts were out here fragging Dia. Even to the
Again, a
very
reminder,
end,
your
the
boy
way that they
ain't
were
gonna be
snapping
live for
teams
NA.
that were leaving out of
We'll
Monument,
be live
they
in the
still were able to
Discord
stay alive
watching
and
it, and if
try to
anyone
secure
wants
the
to
KP
watch
that
it with
they
your boys,
could
I'm probably not
before
gonna be
trying
talking
to
too
push
much,
into Alliance meeting their doom.
because I am going to
LCDF were
be
absolutely our silent
starting to
killers,
work
but
on
let's take a look
the
at the bottom
TLDR
half
video.
of this lobby before moving to our overall points, because UAIM, while they started strong, you called it out, did have a much weaker World's Edge as anticipated.
The
While they
goal
may
is
have
going to
wound
be to
people on
script it,
Storm Point, it's very
probably
clear
even
that there
pull
is a
the
disconnect
B-roll for it
between
tonight.
these 2 lobbies.
That way I can record it tomorrow in the morning, edit, and have it up
see
in
what
the
the
afternoon.
series results are, and there you go. UAIM stays on top.
So UAIM by
So
2,
close.
Aurora
Look
close,
at the
LCDF
slight gap
close.
between UAIM and Aurora, holding on to 54 points. Leciter
Feels
Fonts
like
with
this has been our
52,
closest
even all the way
lobby.
down to LVH, Alliance. I mean, it was always very close, but this top 10 in general, going down to even Vex, is just insane to see how close in skill this entire lobby was to one another.
LCDF, though, really my team to watch coming out of today. Or rather, I guess not watch, because they seem to be so much more powerful off screen. They take on so many teams in awkward positions, and for some weird reason, they're always coming out on top.
Yeah, they look good as a fighting team
Also
today.
want to highlight Phoenix Legacy, of course, also placing in 15th. We were talking a little bit about them yesterday, but unfortunately went down very early in that final game. A lot of action to break down, and what better person to join us than Rain Day?
All right,
Talk a
chat.
little bit about your thoughts.
Gonna do it for EMEA, man. I'm gonna get up on out of here. I'm gonna turn off my lights. Like I said, I will be we'll be in the Discord more than likely. And at least have it up if anyone wants to come in and say what's up. But I am gonna be prioritizing trying to get this video done. I want to try and see if we can get 5 long form videos up during the week this week before we have a weekend of casting, as well as watch partying next weekend. See if we can kind of get ourselves into a nice little routine there. But appreciate y'all who have kind of come through and hung out with your boy, whether it's been just vibing and not even saying what's up and just lurking, or, you know, coming in here and giving your boy a hard time, or just coming in here and saying hi, you know. Y'all are amazing, bro. Love you guys. It's always great to hang out with you guys, watching some competitive Apex. Next weekend will be a little bit more sporadic just because I am going to prioritize Rocket League casting over on the SSA main broadcast. We'll probably what I'm thinking about doing more than likely moving forward is we'll probably do APAC watch parties and then not EMEA and NA. Allows me to start working on videos a little bit, sleep a little bit. Because like normally it's like the EMEA and NA are the same time, are like back to back on this Sunday. You know what I mean? Which by that point I've already had back to backs for APAC South and APAC North. Might make it a little bit easier to get the TLDR video done earlier, but yeah, I'm out of here, man. Appreciate y'all. Till we catch y'all back over here for the next one. Don't forget, with everything crazy going on in the world today, be true, be you, be sincere, game hard and love hard. All right, y'all. It's your boy Q, signing out.